kid's too smart to ever learn. Too on fire to feel the burn of desires all around him. It's not enough, it's not enough to fool yourself anymore. It's not.
There we go. Hey, why are you being such a weenie? There we go. How the fuck is it going, everybody? We doing alright? Let's see, it's 6:10. My shit is actually going to start in like 4 minutes, 3 minutes or so. Yeah, right around 3 minutes is when I technically was really going to start. But you know what? I'm here, and it's been one irritating fucking day. Okay? So, what have we had to deal with today? A shitload. Get to work early. Not too early, but I get to work a little early. Start pulling everything. I load my stuff. I'm getting told do this, come over here, do that, blah 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 blah. Shit that I normally like. I shouldn't. I shouldn't be pulled away from loading and pulling the stuff to load my truck to do other bullshit work, but I was. So that's fun. And because of that, there was some mistakes made. I gotta fix this. Camera cord. There we go. That's the appropriate way to get my phone fucking run. I hate you so much. There we go. All right. Hey, everybody. Everybody. Hey, you're here, right? You're here. You're watching. You're alert. Well, the stream was going for 2 minutes before I started talking, so. Internet says it's fine. It's probably Destiny servers. That and it's Thursday at 6 o'clock. Kids just got off. Kids got home a little bit ago. People are all sitting down doing their shit. Yep. To fucking get off my internet. Well, I gotta say, I'm paying way too much for shit ass internet. Like seriously, I pay like $150 a month to have internet that works about 65-70% of the time. Like why? Why is that even a thing? Anyways, the main thing here is I've had, let me go ahead and just pull this shit up. Boop 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 boop. Okay. Hey. Hey. Listen the fuck up, everybody. All right. I'm fired up today because I'm mad. Literally, that's it. I'm just mad. But we've got a tweet thread. it's been going on for a little while, like 2 days. Please don't expect me to just vote again. I'm entirely out of this corrupt system. Contentious first week. All right. And my view on it is I wouldn't ask you to just vote. I would push for reasons, like, I would show you reasons, hey, that even if they don't get 90% of what they push for done, this is still better than this platform. You should vote this way. If you don't, I'm not going to hold it against you fully. Like all the, I'm not going to call you a stupid piece of shit who should vote no matter what. Blah 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 blah. If you don't vote, that's on you. But you also don't get the right to bitch. All right. If you don't participate, that's on you. You don't have the right to bitch about how things go because you decided to sit it out. Think about like how a team race would go, a relay, and everybody's all there, ready to go. All the teams are lined up, and y'all take off. But you decide, nah, fuck that. I'm gonna sit out. Do you then have the right to complain if your team loses that race? No, because you're part of the reason it fucking failed. Now that's a little bit more narrow, and there's less people involved. But overall, still, like, if you don't participate, you are showing that you don't give a fuck about how things go. So, no, you really don't have any room to complain about the consequences of elections. It's just not a thing you get to do. I'm entirely out of this corrupt system. Well, okay, that's on you. That that's fine. You're making a choice that I find to be distasteful, but that set it aside. I'm not going to just tell you. I'm not going to tell you to just vote. It's not my goal. This is where I found things to be really bad. Love all the people who say, "Look, look, the fact that voting hasn't changed anything for the last 80 years is just proof we need to vote harder." And so I say, except it has made massive changes. Holy shit. My friends, can you think of any here, let's not spoil it. Can you think of any major changes over the past 80 years that have happened that were put through institutions? Can you? Is there not civil rights acts that have been passed? Um, it, did we not give? Let's say women's suffrage. I'm pretty sure ratified in the just over just over just over 100 years ago. Damn. Okay, so I was off on that one, but still, uh, gay rights, trans rights, Medicare, Medicaid. So this person says, elaborate. Has voting halted mass incarceration? It's slowed down proportionally. Yes. Yes, it has. It has slowed down over the past 80 years proportional to the actual population. There are a lot of people in prison. Yes, we have the most people in prison. Yes, but it has slowed down. Stopped it entirely? No, voting hasn't done that. But it's a process. Has it dealt with climate change? We have had ups and downs on our attempts to deal with climate change. Do you remember what was that? 2013, I think it was. There was this thing, or maybe it was 2015. It was the Paris Climate Accords. Wasn't really a like a huge deal of legislation. It didn't have very much like very much in it that was far enough. It didn't go far nearly far enough. It has no teeth, but it was a fucking start. Okay, education. Yeah, it has helped education fucking massively. Just not higher education, and even then, huh, huh. 4 year schools. That's actually in the American Families Plan. So, yes, education, yes. Healthcare, Medicare, and Medicaid started within the past 80 years. So, yes. Yes. Just yes. U.S. imperialism? I don't know. Biden did just pull out of Afghanistan and Iraq. Now, he has also done an airstrike in Afghanistan again. But he did pull out the fucking... He did start pulling out the fucking troops to have it end on 9/11 this year. So, it started to fucking help. Yes, because it's not a one and done thing. It's a goddamn process, you stupid fucks. Housing. Yeah. Yeah, it kind of fucking did. Because you remember what happened in 2008? That whole that housing market bubble bursting and shit. You know what hasn't happened since then? The exact same thing. It's not helped enough, but it has kind of fucking helped. All right. Food. Not really. No, I'll give them that. Food. It hasn't really helped there. Rural development. Yes. In many. Yes. Yes. I drive through rural areas all the goddamn time. Yes. Voting has helped for rural development. And that's a fucking state thing anyways. Like, why would you throw that out there? Yeah, that's a fucking state issue. Dumb fuck. Has it stopped gentrification? Kinda, not really, but kinda a little bit. Has it reined in the banks? No, but that's because that's capitalism. Just voting isn't gonna rein in capitalism. Stop monopolization at all levels of society? Yes! Just flat out, yes. Yes. So I laid out, yeah, civil rights acts, gay rights, trans rights, protection for minorities. As for things you listed, yeah, I just tried to address some of those things, such as rent controls in New York and shit. Medicare and Medicaid were made, so yeah, holy shit. Which this person said, most everything you mentioned is attributable to either the courts or the Nixon administration. Just saying, that's a pretty low bar. No, the courts did not write and sign the Civil Rights Act. They upheld gay rights, but that's something that was done by Congress. Trans rights, the access to medical treatments and shit, done by Congress. Protections for minorities, done by Congress. Signed into laws by the president and interpreted and upheld under the Supreme Court. You voted for SCOTUS. Oh, and Civil Rights Act, not Nixon. Gay rights, not Nixon. Trans rights, not Nixon. Protections for minorities, not Nixon. Fuck, the Civil Rights Act was LBJ. So was Medicare and Medicaid. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, you idiot? And then, Brendan here, you voted for SCOTUS justices? Hey, y'all. Quick. Hey, Froge. I have a quick question. How the fuck do SCOTUS justices get their position? Do they just walk in and say, "This is my job now"? Like, how does it work? How does it work? Please, for for this person, for this person's sake, Brendan Kelly. I need to do this explanation because they're apparently, for somebody who quote unquote studies political science, they don't know the first goddamn thing about the political system of America. Like, what the fuck? So, let's figure this out. Well, from what I remember in my government courses, the Supreme Court is appointed justices. They're life appointments, and the person who appoints them is the president. And then the people who confirm the nomination is the Senate. How do we get the president and the Senate filled? Do they walk up and just say, "This is my job now"? Or do we hold elections and vote for these people? I don't I don't know what to do with people like this. You voted for SCOTUS justices for one. They didn't. They just uphold these things. They have affirmed that these things are real. They don't write legislation. You stupid fuck. Your poli-sci degree is nothing. Yeah, there's lists of potential nominees by orgs, but the president does choose the nominee, and the Senate confirms them, just as a baseline thing. So why would you say you voted for SCOTUS justices when I'm making a point that elections have had positive and negative impacts, that things have fucking changed? They're not the big changes that people necessarily always want, a lot of the people on the left want, but there are things that have fucking changed, alright? Oh, I should probably actually, not even showing the thing. So, yeah, you voted for SCOTUS. Well, Dave, you're from Germany, and so your opinion doesn't fucking matter to me, uh, because it's irrelevant here in America. And also, Germany does support, as a general rule, the LGBTQ plus community. So you can go fuck yourself, buddy. Dems get their nominees from the Constitutional Society, and Republicans get them from the Heritage Foundation. But yeah, it's a baseline. Yeah, yeah, it's usually either the Heritage Foundation or there's another organization that I know Trump got a lot of his justices from that wasn't Heritage. It was like the Federalist. It's the Federalist Society. Uh, but yeah, so I mean, we've got the process here where yeah, no, you don't vote for SCOTUS justices, but you vote for the people who nominate and confirm those nominations for those justices. Yeah, yes, Frosh. Yes, you're yes. Uh, my actual answer was literally that. Who appoints them? A person you vote into office, and who approves them? More people you elect. Oh my God! Wow! Why are you being such a fucking idiot? And then, by the way, if you study poli sci, you should know that SCOTUS cannot legislate anything, merely rule that something is constitutional or not. They don't make laws; they interpret them. Like seriously, all of you trying to question me are being dishonest fucks right now. Think first. This person, super disingenuous. Yeah, all my homies hate the Federalist Society too. So hey, does that mean we're homies here, Frosh? I consider you at least an online friend. Damn. They're supposed to give you a marker for that, aren't they, Santa? Red Santa? I do think Shu is pretty cute, so that's an aside. But so that's the thing. Uh, the overall point I'm getting to here with my little rant about this thread, as small as it is, and it's not got a whole lot of engagement, but that's fine. I don't care about the engagement levels. What I care about is actually getting the point across. Wait, hold on. What? Why would the New York Times know that my Twitter account is about to be suspended? How would the How would the New York Times, a news organization, get information about if my account, Marjorie Taylor Greene says, if my account is going to get suspended? They reach out to Twitter. Duh, dumbass. But yeah, Froge, you are also friend. So yeah, essentially, what I want to get to is elections have fucking consequences. All right, you don't get to bitch about the consequences if you sit out. You do get to bitch if you participate, regardless of where you participate from. If you even like If you go out and you place your vote and you push other people to at least go vote for someone, then you're doing something. You have the right to bitch. If you go out and canvass, you have the right to bitch. Even if you don't vote for a president, but you vote down ballot, you have the right to bitch. But the instant you just say, nope, done with the whole fucking system, I don't care, I'm done, I'm not voting for anything. You don't have a right. No, fuck off. Your opinion is irrelevant. You didn't give your opinion voting. So why the fuck do I need to listen to your opinion now? You didn't even have the fucking gumption to take your views and go and cast a fucking ballot. You didn't. So why? Why should I take any of your opinions seriously? Because you apparently don't hold them that strongly yourself. You didn't get off your ass and go do one of the easiest things in the entire fucking world. Go vote. And by easiest, I mean it is physically one of the... You stand in a line, you mark some shit, there you go. I mean, yeah, there's... Waiting in line can be difficult, and scheduling, blah, 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 blah. But if you just... If you actively choose not to do it, sorry, I don't need to listen to your opinion on it. There's no reason for me to. Why should anyone listen to your opinion if you didn't hold your conviction strong enough to go and cast a ballot? There are consequences to this shit, as is evidenced by the fact that now, because of not the most recent election, but the Trump election, where he actually won in 2016, we now have 3 more conservative fucking justices on the Supreme Court. And guess what? That changes the dynamic of a bunch of shit. Now, we have to worry about abortion rights. We have to worry about gay rights. We have to worry about trans rights. We even have to worry about the Civil Rights Acts. Because for generations, people are going to be affected by the consequences of that election. Same as there's going to be consequences to this election that we just had with Biden. There are consequences, and they are actively not as bad currently as what we got from Trump. This is just factual information. If you have a different opinion on it, I'm sorry to tell you, it's no. Has Biden been a perfect president? Fuck no. Fuck no. Bombing of Afghanistan after pulling out troops and stuff. Now there is some arguments to be made that it was like a more legitimate strike or whatever, but still, like, it's not our job to do this shit. There's a whole bunch of other shit that I don't even have the memory for right now to get into. But Biden has done some other shit that's not very good. He's still got detention centers open for migrants. He's actually cracking down on them even harder now. There's negative consequences to this election, but there are also more positive ones than there were under Trump. This is why it's called harm reduction. You are not thinking that the candidate is going to be a perfect person. Nowhere fucking near. But you are saying this person is less harmful to us than this person. Boom. They're the same flag. Okay. Anyways. Luckily, these people have not responded. The people who have gone on that thread, they have not responded to me. Now they've liked all of each other's tweets against me, but they haven't been able to come up with any arguments against what I said. None. Because none of them have a principled position. What are the consequences to this? Well, the consequences to this kind of action is more voter apathy, and then you have more chances for people more like Trump or further right than Trump to actually win. Because, well, if you get to the point where you go, there's no point in voting, worse people fucking win. If you lose heart to be able to defend the most marginalized people in this fucking country because you haven't seen the immediate benefits to your privileged white ass, fuck off. All right? Go out and vote regardless of if you feel comfortable with it. You think I wanted to vote for Biden? Do you really think that I went out happy to vote for fucking Biden? No. I almost Robloxed myself instead. But you know what? I held true and went, it's better than letting Trump win again. It's better than letting Trump win again. It really is. Anyone who tells you that it's not better is jaded, ignorant, lying to you, or fucking dumb. There's really only four points I can think of. Okay? The identity of the person telling me that doesn't matter unless I see like a large percentage of minority people coming out and saying it definitely wasn't worth it. Then that's when I'll probably take that a little more seriously. But until then, no. And I've talked to more people of color than you might think, and guess what? Black people and Mexican people and Guatemalan people, like every single non-white person I've spoken to is happier now than they were under Trump. It's marginal. It's also wildly anecdotal, especially considering I live in a red state. But that should say something. That should say something, shouldn't it? The people in a red state, Oklahoma. He won every county in my state. The fucking snowball guy won over a moderate Democrat. Which did worry me because I was actually hoping Elizabeth Britt would win. But yeah. So if the people that I've talked to in this state are happier under Biden than under Trump, that should say something about it. All right? Most of the people I talk to at least agree with me on 60% of my issues that I bring up to them. And I mean, I'm literally going around at my job and people, I just talk to random people and I'm just like, hey, how do you feel about this? Blah, 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 blah. I'm just talking to people. All right. Really easy. I'm just like, hey, did you, hey, how's it going today? Blah, 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 weather, shit like that. Oh, you have this worry? Well, did you know about this? And I find a way to put little snippets out there to get feelers on somebody's positions a little bit. And the feedback has been Biden's better than Trump. The rare exception to this is way out in the sticks, like way the fuck out there. Like, for example, do 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 do. So, one of the places that my friends, deliver to out here, over here, because this is like my house is like over here ish somewhere. This is a 25-minute drive. This is a 30-minute drive. Out here. So it's out in this area, which, I mean, this is all like one big city area. Up here was pretty big on Trump, but overall, all of this, most of this, out here, all of that area, essentially. Biden better. Out here, though, I mean, even out here, there's a restaurant I have to go to, and they literally have like the Trump teddy bear, signed pictures of Trump, blah 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 blah. They fucking love Trump. And I actually corrected the owner on what communism is, because they were just like, "Oh, is Biden donating to all?" She said Bezos is a communist, because he donated to all these like communist charities or whatever. I laughed. I legitimately laughed in her face, and she just looked at me, and I was like, "Jeff Bezos is not a communist. He is the ultimate capitalist. If you find what he's doing to be bad, blame capitalism, like straight up." And that is one of the only people who did not like that. That's one of the few people who was just like, no, Biden is worse than Trump. But then again, that person is absolutely racist. So, what are you gonna do? Does everybody understand what I mean by like elections have the consequences and shit? God, we're at 30 minutes in. Yeah, these are all temporary timestamps, but I'll change them around whenever it becomes time. Because I don't know, y'all. Voting for people has there's executive orders, there's like legislation, signing or writing or whatever. There's Supreme Court justice nominations semi frequently. There's district courts and shit like that because they have to appoint all the judges. There's a lot that happens in elections. They have consequences. What legislation is allowed to pass, what the makeup of the Senate and shit looks like is important. It really fucking is. And I cannot believe that there are people who are just like, no, it's not important. Hasn't done anything. Literally nothing's changed in 80 years. 80 years ago to today, exact same shit. What? Nothing has changed in the past 80 years. Nothing? Literally nothing. I don't believe the person who said it even believes it. I really don't think they believe it. If they do, then that's an incredibly embarrassing position for them to take, but alright, y'all. You have to go like this tweet. I do have to ask, how do you like my new starting soon screen? Here, let me throw it up real quick, and then we'll get some input. Because this is artwork that was done by a another friend, and they just felt like I needed it. So I now have this sweet art from Nick, who I brought onto stream to talk to before. So I'm a big fan of that. Let's get rid of let's get rid of the music and stuff. But yeah, it's sweet ass art, isn't it? Guys, that's something I have to point out, okay? I want to point out, okay? I don't know how common this is, but there is actually a condition that you can develop or you can be born with where you can absorb plant protein, but you do not get the amount that a normal person would. You get a limited amount than somebody who does not have this condition. So it takes more, way more plant matter that you have to try and eat to maintain the same levels of protein that you would get. Okay? For example, myself have a mild form of this. I can eat one cheeseburger, quarter pound, and that's the protein that I need. Or I can eat 8 bean burritos. Same protein that I get. This is not to say that you shouldn't at least try.
Because look at him.
So why was it
yeah.
a big mistake to educate women?
Because look at him.
God damn. So fucking ridiculous. Oh my god. Legit shit. But yeah, that's just something I know, Giga Chad Outlaw. Okay, let's see. 100, 300, 500, 2,500, 3,500, 3,900, 4,100, 5,600. It's 8,600. 12,600. 14,600. 15,100. Oh, no. That's not the right. Yeah. That's a lot. This is so LARP. Who the fuck is this? Do I follow you? No, that's right. I unfollowed you because you are definitely ridiculous. Okay, that's actually a really good point. This person is one of the worst. They're the worst kind of human to ever live. Yeah. I'm getting drawn into fucking Twitter instead of doing what I'm supposed to. I'm essentially waiting around. It's gonna be 8:30 ish that I get to talk to Erin. Just so you know. Uh, I don't do that to be super precise, but that's 8:30 is about the time that we're supposed to have a conversation over some good shit. Oh, hey, pull up the YouTube live right now. Yeah, I know.
DeSantis, who is using your words about don't be in the way, and he's saying, I am in the way to block too much interference from the federal government. Your response, Mr. President?
Governor who?
DeSantis.
Why is it
Yeah, he's got that cheeky fucking look. Yeah, fuck you, Ron DeSantis or Rick DeSantis, whatever the fuck your name is. Ooh, breaking news. Let's go.
Good afternoon. I'm joined here today by Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights, Kristen Clark. Today, we are announcing that the Justice Department is opening an investigation into the City of Phoenix and the Phoenix Police Department. The investigation will determine whether the Phoenix Police Department engages in a pattern or practice of violations of the Constitution or federal law. This is the third pattern or practice investigation I have announced as Attorney General. Each time, I have noted that these investigations aim to promote transparency and accountability. This increases public trust, which in turn increases public safety. We know that law enforcement shares these goals. The Justice Department has briefed Phoenix Mayor Kate Gallego and Police Chief Jerry Williams about the investigation. we are pleased by their pledge of support. They too recognize that we share common aims. Our investigation in Phoenix will be led by the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division. It is based on the division's extensive review of publicly available information, and it will consider several issues. First, whether the Phoenix Police Department uses excessive force in violation of the Fourth Amendment. Second, whether the Phoenix Police Department engages in discriminatory policing practices that violate the Constitution and federal law. Third, whether the department violates the First Amendment by retaliating against individuals who are engaged in protected expressive activities. Fourth, whether the city and its police department respond to people with disabilities in a manner that violates the Americans with Disabilities Act. This includes whether decisions to criminally detain individuals with behavioral health disabilities are proper. And fifth, whether the Phoenix Police Department violates the rights of individuals experiencing homelessness by seizing and disposing of their belongings in a manner that violates the Constitution.
Oh, that happens fucking everywhere, Garland. Oh, but okay. So my initial thought is why don't you do a widespread, but I see the plan here. What you do is you do it into the Phoenix Police Department because they're publicly known to be super fucked. So you do it to the Phoenix Police Department, you hit them hard on it, and then you go, we've been hearing about some other ones where I think we're going to launch some investigations into them. They'll clean up their act real fucking quick. Because, yeah, that kind of shit happens all the time. Throwing up, like, just taking homeless people's shit and destroying it, throwing it away, whatever. Yeah, they do that all the time.
Those last two areas of investigative focus speak to an important issue that is broader than the Phoenix investigation. Our society
Shouldn't have fucking paused it and mentioned that I'm disappointed that he didn't say anything about a wider thing. And he's just like, you know what, the last 2 points, though.
is straining the policing profession by turning to law enforcement to address a wide array of social problems. Too often, we ask law enforcement officers to be the first and last option for addressing issues that should not be handled by our criminal justice system. This makes police officers' jobs more difficult, increases unnecessary confrontations with law enforcement, and hinders public safety. This past week, there has been much attention to the impending risk of mass evictions, which would put millions of tenants at risk of losing shelter. Needless to say, the impact on individuals and families would be devastating, and as the CDC has made clear, the impact on public health would likewise be devastating, fueling the spread of COVID-19 infections in the affected communities.
True.
Associate Attorney General Vanita Gupta is leading a Justice Department effort with state court leaders on this problem. On June 24th, she sent a letter to state courts urging them to implement eviction diversion strategies that will increase the chances that families can stay in their homes. Mass evictions would also have serious implications for law enforcement, adding to a crisis of homelessness that strains but cannot be solved by the criminal justice system. The ramifications do not end there. Far too often, police officers are the first ones called when someone is experiencing a mental health crisis in any setting.
That should not be the
But
case,
it is
ever.
almost certain that police will be called to respond to someone experiencing a mental health crisis if that person is also without housing. And as we have repeatedly seen,
We need social
the
workers.
risks to everyone involved in such interactions are enormous. These issues must be addressed if we are to ease the burdens that our society places on law enforcement and ensure the safety of our communities. The Justice Department, through grant-making, technical assistance, and training, supports law enforcement and community-based programs to tackle these challenges. I will now turn the podium over to Assistant Attorney General Clark, who will talk more about our pattern or practice investigation.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney
This is
General.
going to set a good example, I think.
Protecting the rule of law demands that those who enforce our laws also abide by them. Ensuring that law enforcement acts in a lawful and accountable manner is a priority for the Civil Rights Division. As the Attorney General has just announced, following an extensive review of publicly available information regarding the Phoenix Police Department, today we are opening a civil pattern or practice investigation into the City of Phoenix and the Phoenix Police Department. We have reviewed court files, media reports, citizen complaints, and we also considered factors that we ordinarily weigh in determining whether to open an investigation, including the nature and seriousness of the allegations, the number of allegations, the steps that a department may be taking to address the allegations, and the history of the department. We found that the evidence here warrants a full investigation, but we approach this process with no predispositions or pre-drawn conclusions. Our pattern or practice investigations have been successful at identifying not only whether systemic misconduct is occurring, but also its root causes, so that those root causes can ultimately be fixed. As part of our investigation in Phoenix, we will meet with officers and command staff, as well as members of the broader Phoenix community. We will review incident reports, body-worn camera footage, and other data and documentation collected by the department.
Okay, so
We will
internal
also review
review.
the department's policies, training materials, and supervision records, as well as documents related to systems of accountability, including how complaints are investigated and how discipline is imposed. As you know, about 3 months ago, we launched similar investigations into the city of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Police Department, as well as the city of Louisville and the Louisville Police Department. In both cities, as in Phoenix, we've been fortunate to have the support of city officials and police chiefs. In that short time, Justice Department lawyers have had in-person and virtual meetings with close to 1,000 community stakeholders in Minneapolis and Louisville. Hundreds more have submitted messages to the Justice Department. Department lawyers have participated in over 50 ride-alongs with officers. We have had 4 meetings with full command staff and spoken to officers across both individual interviews and roll call briefings.
Okay, what
We will
about
take the same approach in Phoenix.
what about talking to people that have had the interaction? Why not talk to the people who have filed the complaints as well to see how they have how the interactions went? That shouldn't be that big a deal, right?
Our career attorneys have decades of experience working on investigations like the one we open here today. One thing we have learned over the decades is that we must and will work collaboratively with the Phoenix community and with the Phoenix Police Department. If we conclude that there are no systemic violations of constitutional or federal statutory rights by the city or Phoenix Police Department, we will make that known. If, on the other hand, we conclude that there is reasonable cause to believe that such violations are occurring, we will issue a report describing our findings and then aim to work cooperatively with the city to reach agreement on the best remedies. If an appropriate remedy cannot be achieved through agreement, the Attorney General is authorized to bring litigation to secure an appropriate injunctive remedy.
Yep.
This
True.
morning, our team had the opportunity to speak with city officials about our investigation. We are pleased that Mayor Gallego and Chief Williams have pledged their full support. I will repeat the same message our team conveyed to city officials and city leaders this morning. We're committed to following the facts where they lead and doing so in a timely manner so that we can expeditiously address any pattern or practice of unlawful conduct that may be identified. We look forward to working together with the city and the Phoenix Police Department toward the shared goals of ensuring constitutional policing and fostering greater cooperation between law enforcement officers and the community members that they serve.
Okay, we'll take a couple questions. Jeff?
Garland, was there a final straw in Phoenix?
I'm going to leave that question because it's specifically about the Phoenix investigation to the Assistant Attorney General.
Our investigation looked into a number of issues. What we're planning to roll up our sleeves and look at closely is whether or not the Phoenix Police Department uses force unconstitutionally, including deadly force, whether the department engages in discriminatory policing, whether the department engages in retaliatory conduct by making arrests or using force against individuals engaged in peaceful, expressive activities. We're going to look at whether the city and the police department discriminate against people with disabilities in violation of the ADA. We're going to look at the department and whether they violate the rights of people experiencing homelessness by unlawfully seizing or disposing of personal property during cleanings or sweeps of encampments. And we're also going to look at the department's policies and training, as well as how they investigate and hold officers accountable for misconduct, as failures of these systems may contribute to violations of federal law.
Okay.
This is also for Ms. Clark, sorry. The investigation, the nature of the investigation with respect to people experiencing homelessness seems new. I wonder if you could speak as to some of the legal issues you're looking at there, Fourth Amendment and the like, and also whether this is intended to send a message to other law enforcement entities which routinely sweep across the country and cities across the country the belongings of the homeless.
The basis for our investigation includes the Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act of 1994. Whether those sweeps, unlawfully seizing and disposing the belongings of persons experiencing homelessness, may indeed trigger a violation of the 4th and 14th Amendments. And so that is another basis for the investigation that we are launching today.
Mr. Attorney General, you mentioned the eviction crisis and the dangers posed by mass evictions. Can you tell us, in light of what's gone on in the last day or two, were you or the Justice Department consulted about the administration's reversal in policy on the eviction ban? Are you confident that you'll be able to get it?
Oh, on that note, with the eviction thing, okay, so I saw people saying, ask Cori Bush how to use leverage to get things done. Cori Bush is able to, because like there's rules with Congress and shit, she was able to circumnavigate using the rules to force them not to go on vacation and to come back and extend the eviction moratorium, which is good. She did use her leverage in a situation where it was actually viable for her to do so. However, I think AOC also participated, but nobody mentions that. Cori Bush like camped out and then AOC didn't go or some shit and did some other kind of work protest thing. But then they're just like, yeah, it's like AOC could have forced the vote. That's using her leverage, and it's like the exact same thing. Trying to force a vote on Medicare for all, which if it passed, would go to the Senate and could potentially pass there, and has huge rippling effects, as in overhauling our fucking healthcare system, which I'm in favor for. Let's face it. But the point I'm making here is different scenarios. They're trying to say that it's the exact same thing as extending a current eviction moratorium that they passed before. is the exact same as Medicare for all. It's the exact same thing, exact same dynamic, exact same dynamic. Because say it did pass. What? That's great. What are the ramifications? Well, it goes to the Senate. Say the Senate passes it. Okay, no, I'm phrasing this wrong. What are the ramifications for things like force the vote? All right. The way force the vote was voting, withholding vote for Nancy Pelosi, blah blah blah. You get the floor vote. They put the floor vote up. Now, when it was going to be put up, taking that set of we'll just use the original campaign because it was not under this current administration. But they're like force the vote, withhold vote for Pelosi. Okay, say Pelosi put it up for a vote. What happens? Well, there's plenty of Dems who would vote against it. There's a bunch of co-signers, but even if you assume some of them wouldn't actually vote for it if it came down to a passing vote, well, they know it's not going to pass because they're smarter than Jimmy Dore. So they'll use it as a fucking smokescreen. You'll get a list of 7 fucking people who voted no that you wanted to vote yes? Now, what the other likelihood is, and the more likely thing is, they go, we're not going to vote for you unless you bring up Medicare for all for a floor vote. And she goes, hey, you four. What if I give you these concessions? I'll give you some concessions. You vote for me. We'll spin it this way. You can spin it this way. I'll spin it this way. Yeah, sounds good. We get to demonize the communists. Because let's use Jimmy Dore's logic here. Even there's no difference between the Democrat and Republican Party. Why the fuck do you think they would kowtow to the left if they're the exact same?
Through the Supreme Court.
So, as I said, the effects of mass evictions would be devastating, both on individuals and, as the CDC has said, on communities because of the risk of spread of COVID. The department has vigorously defended the statutory authority of the CDC to issue eviction moratorium, and we will continue to do so. As I'm sure you know, there was a filing last night by the plaintiffs in that case. We will be making our own filings, and as is appropriate, we will respond in our filings to those kinds of questions. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.
Okay, that's pretty solid. What the fuck is this? I want to point out how stupid this is. Fascism is corporate. Authoritarianism, totalitarian, dictatorial might be present, but the corporate governance, energetic flow are key. Biden didn't ban Trump. Jack Dorsey did, and so forth. First part, okay, yeah, a little bit, Fascism does have a kind of corporate element to it. In a way, it's rolling state and corporate power together. There's different kinds of fascism, right? This is a deal with that I had and Erin also had problems with, apparently, with Ben Burgiss, is he was really stuck on Central European fascism instead of more evolved forms of fascism. And by evolved, I mean they've changed a little bit. They've spread out a little bit in the way that they do things. But if you roll the state and corporate power together, you got some fascists. But Biden didn't ban Trump because Biden doesn't own Twitter. Twitter's not a public common. It's not a public good. It is a service provided by a private individual, a private company. It has terms of service. And while we have things like this, terms of service are important. Otherwise, look at 4chan. Look at 8chan. Twitter has a terms of service, and look at it. YouTube has a terms of service, and look at it. There's a fucking bigot in my chat. At least there was. I don't know if they're still here, but this Dave motherfucker. Because I can see these messages, because I almost have no chat. But hey, that means I can respond to every single one of you. So this is dumb. But corporate governance, energetic flow. I'm not even entirely sure what the fuck they're trying to say there, honestly. The corporate governance, energetic flow are key. Biden didn't. I'm not engaging with this person anymore because this is so fucking stupid. But I wanted to point it out. Oh yeah, and this motherfucker was like, "That's the West is not capitalist; it's international syndicalist. Fascism is national syndicalism, not international." No, no, it's not. As I point out, fascism is a pretty confused mess of an ideology and has actually been attempting international unity for a while. Notice how fascists keep calling themselves pan-European nationalists? They want international cooperation between European peoples. Like, come on, y'all. Please. Pay attention to what fascists actually do and what they say. You have to pay attention to both. You can't just pay attention to old theory. Oh, shit. Yeah, I can't believe y'all don't vote on fucking SCOTUS every election. How do you... Guys, remember, you have to vote on SCOTUS at your next election. Kamala breaking unpopularity records. Yeah, nobody fucking likes Kamala Harris. Kamala breaking... Yeah, unpopularity. I did read that right. Kamala is not liked. I do like this guy's channel. He has problems with Vosh, but it's okay. Vosh didn't upload that debate for some fucking reason. It was a good discussion, more than a debate, I think. He did, like, it was nice and stuff at first, and then dude started, like, being kind of antagonistic, so I don't know. What? Imperialism is a symptom of central planning? No! This person said, okay, so there's how corporations are paid by the government at the end of the month, no matter how mediocre they perform. It's literally a monopoly protected by the state. Um, technically, everyone is paid by the government whenever they get any amount of money because the government owns all the money. They make it, they evaluate it. Like, they put the valuation on the money. They go, hey, this means this. This is how much this is. This is how we back it up. Or it's because we say so. And that's just literally what you can't burn it. You can't tear it. You can't destroy it. Okay, I'm not sure this person is alright. Oh my god. Marcy went off apparently. Like a few minutes ago. Holy shit. Sometimes I fantasize about Destiny, the streamer, coming home and beating me until I feel numb. Oh, sorry, this is violent. Trigger warning, sorry. He kicks me in the ribs until they crack and I can't breathe. Then he starts to cry and begs me to forgive him. He holds me all night as I gently cry into his t-shirt. Is there something wrong with me? There might be, Marcy. You might have something you need to work out. Like something like that happened to you previously? Maybe? I don't know. And Danny just I'm sure it's a a fucking shit post. Because that's Marcy. Top tier shit post. Oh, that's why they're arguing against me, because they're fucking anti-socialist. Who has to fucking retweet? Huh. Alright. Yeah, Nina Turner lost her race, which is fucking sad, but, you know, what do you do? Not much you can, right? Oh yeah, that's something. We can continue our research. I know what to do here. Boom. 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 More boog shit. Straight up says in the thing that there's race that this is going to have racism, so if that should be trigger warning enough for you. So Jesus Christ. Oh, look at that. David, you said the Boogaloo's cooperation with other groups is less about affiliation and what you call yourself and more about your ideology and what are you trying to accomplish. There's some parts of the country where we work with BLM and we get into fistfights with 3%ers on site, and there's other places where local BLM chapter hates us and we work with the local 3%ers. That's not, yeah, see, no. The realm of acceptable ideas is a lot wider than people think. To the left, not to your fucking direction, fascist. Yeah. Yeah, sure, right? Yeah. Yeah, sure. Yeah. The only reason they do anything trying to work with BLM is because they're anti-police and they want to fight the police.
Some olive branches that have been extended to the NFAC, most notably from the Boogaloo Boys, who have reached out to me to say, hey, wait a minute. We're not these racist guys that people are telling you that we are. Don't put us on the list with them boys over there. We rock with you. Matter of fact, they've made an offer to come to Louisville and stand with us. They have made an offer, and I have the contact information, even though I've let them know I am adhering to Malcolm X. When Malcolm X said, you can help us, but you cannot join us. Which means to the Boogaloo Boys, if you want to come out and provide some form of security, I don't know how, because we're going to have so much. I'm not saying that you can't come. I'm just saying that you did reach out, and I'm acknowledging publicly that to the public, they did reach out. But at the end, some olive.
Even Tariq Nasheed recognized it. State that by falsely accusing you or someone else of being a white supremacist, they are engaging in the same type of racial profiling they should be against. Yeah, nobody would fucking fall for that. That's weak. Yeah, this right here is a huge endorsement of of the Boogaloo Boys to these people, and it's also a huge red flag to everybody. Rome literally just threatens to go and like hurt people. Like, I don't know. I follow Rome, or at least I used to, until I learned more about that shit. I can't. He's just like, oh, he literally told the dude he was just going to kill him over the phone, and then when confronted about it by other people, like, bro, you know you can't say that, right? He said, so I don't care. Hell yeah, I said that. And it's like, wow, you can't just do that. And then Jimmy Dore and yeah, fucking Magnus Panvidya. But Froge isn't a see. See, I didn't know they use friend, but that's something that I've seen around a lot actually before the Boogaloos were even a thing. Wow. Wow. Shane Hazel. Oh, Spike Cohen. Yeah. Okay. Yep. Look at this. But you don't have to. Oh my god. I like blue hair. I blend in very well with leftists. Being mean isn't the issue. It's about getting people's attention without putting yourself in a position to hurt the movement. You do you, but Nazi shit is off limits for me. May the best strategy win. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We kick Nazis out of our fucking group. You fucking lying shithead. Oh my god. We fight them on sight. No, you don't. You only fight them if they're standing in your way. I'm sure you contact them and be like, yeah, we're going to have to fight because you're, like, protecting the police here. Nah. Oh my god. Who's Ashley? Oh my god. Yep. Oh, but Magnus isn't. Yeah, yeah, okay. I see. I see. Hey, Fashy Boog Boy, if you're here, let me know. Let me know. Because I do want to know if you, plan on actually showing up to this fucking discussion that we're supposed to have. Yeah, like, I literally told him, because this is my message, I can read it. I mean, I think you have your heart in the right place based on what he's been saying. I don't know about the rest, to be honest. I'm leery of boobs in most groups, to be honest. You have shown me that you're either one, super chill and a good person in a movement that has some issues, to say the least, or two, you're very good at dishonesty. And considering, I didn't know any of this shit that I now know about the Boog Boys, I mean, if it says anything. Let me go to my fucking bookmarks. I don't know how to do that, though. Alright, now where? Mobile bookmarks. Ah, where's my... Oh yeah, this is all the study material. Ah. All of this stuff right here about Boog fascism. I didn't know most of this. I was trying to look stuff up while I was at work talking to this person. And I've spoken to a few who really made me think like they were fascists, just like in real life. And I have to play it real fucking careful out there when I'm doing shit. But I think this guy thinks he's got me though. If he's not tuned in right now, if he's not watching as one of these playbacks, then he probably thinks he has me on the hook. You know what I mean? That means that I get to hit him with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 pages of anti-boog material. 99% of it thanks to Froge here in chat, Torrential Rage. Froge, when I make money off of this, you're the first person I'm paying. You and Nick. First two people who get money from me because you've done work without me, like, telling you that I need it. You're cool as fuck, alright? But do you see this? If I just hit this shit right here, this page, because this page links to like this one and this one and this one and this one. and this one, but I wanted to get everything. So I've got the all of this just because I found it generally good to have. And see, this is their run into March for Medicare for All. This includes poor OPSEC and vetting practices, ties to crypto fascists. Who was it? Who was it? Matthew Heimbach. Boom. Quotes. That's all you need to do. Like, just. Instagram does not play nice with archive.org, so we could not locate the post on the Wayback Machine. Jeff Campbell, of course. Oh, and I'm blocked by Jeff. Just to prove. Check it. Come on. I don't need this page anymore. Oh, because it's Wayback Machine. I am blocked by Jeff, though. I don't remember what for. Shit, what's his fucking... Well, yeah, see? I mean, all I have to do is click here. Da, 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 da. Ah, there we go. Somebody actually linked it, because I didn't know. Because fuck this guy. I just wanted to make sure, you know? Shit, we are 40 minutes out from a discussion with Erin Green, y'all. And I am fucking prepared. Do you see this? These are the notes that I took about their debate. Things that I saw. Not all of its issues. It's just kind of overall notes and stuff. Sometimes there's things that I interject. Of course. This is what happens when you let Jimmy Dore be the person who teaches you about politics. Right here. This absolute, absolutely lovely thing. People are contacting the people like, hey, y'all, this guy's a fucking fascist. Why is he being platformed? And like the Valley actually like tried to contact him, and then the leadership of March for Medicare for All responded with defensiveness and false claims that all critiques of their organizing were trolling or part of an establishment psyop. While many criticisms on Twitter were disingenuous attacks from liberals, the leadership of March for Medicare for All defaulted to conspiracism in the face of justified criticism and concern from experienced organizers. It was also immediately obvious that the organizers of March for Medicare for All had zero understanding of OPSEC best practices. A campus anti-hate group from Indiana reached out and stated that they had joined the national organizing Slack in a matter of minutes with absolutely no vetting. They provided us intel on what was happening in the Slack and DM'd us screenshots. We were independently verified when the Daily Beast quoted the same comments that concerned us. Well, which were, not when we were. Fucking hell. Yep, these people are fucking awful. One People's Project added Nico House to their rogues gallery along with Idavox. It's the home of Daryl Lamont Jenkins, an experienced grassroots anti-fascist reach. Okay, cool. Cool. In the article, OPP clearly lays out the argument that Nico House has strong ties to far-right conspiracy theorist and propagandist Jack. Yep. I just want to point out, by the way, which one is it? I know he uploaded it. It's his clip channels that uploaded the other one. Where is it? uh, no, it got a. Where is it? God damn it. Wow. I explained why Vosh is not a socialist and how he betrays socialism to defend eating animals. That's not... Okay. That right there. Unsubscribed. Not even because it's criticizing Vosh, but because you are so fucking dumb that you think defending eating animals makes you not a fucking socialist. Get the fuck out of here. Hey. Leftist Democrat? I don't. That's not. Okay. Okay, that's the Assad defender. Hey. Okay, yeah, see, that's... Bro, all you do is go after him. There's 100... Okay. Sure, bud. Let's see. I need to know. Sabby Sabs, really? Come on. Easily, Jackson Hinkle's a dumb fuck. You're... Rob, talk to me, dude. You're fucking ridiculous. Yeah, of course. Yeah, he's a... Is Tulsi Gabbard a sellout? Yes. Jimmy Dore is a fucking idiot, and if you're defending him, you too are a fucking idiot. Sorry to say, Nico House, you're dumb. Yeah, I actually cannot find the debate. I'm not giving Nico views. You can find it if you want to watch that particular version of it. You can do that, but I'm not giving Nico views. But seriously, he's a he's a social fascist. Biden's a social fascist. Fascism is Biden's a social fascist. And Bosch is like, what is a fascist? Can you describe fascism? What are the tenets of fascism? You seriously are you fucking dumb? Holy shit. He uploaded that one. He felt bad about the socialism MMA one, I think, because he felt like he was bullying somebody who was not mentally capable of handling the discussion. And so he didn't want to upload it because he felt bad. Like, he didn't. It's the way he felt. Other people have uploaded it, as you could see with Thermia and shit, but yeah. Oh. Our subject here in this profile once said something very important. When you start seeing patterns, you've got to start asking questions. Well, the pattern we are seeing, especially after the protests of the past year against police brutality and their killings of innocent people, are how some of the far-right fascists are reaching out to more left-leaning circles, with some on the left embracing that reach out in a phony effort to work together, which is actually an attempt to remain relevant in the climate that is slowly but surely pulling away from them now that Donald Trump is no longer president. Now, even though we say say that it particularly has been happening over the past year, this stunt has been going on for generations. Yeah, it really has. But herself a hodgepodge of right-wing hate theories, yeah, Tulsi. Now, to go through all the full conspiracy theories House latched onto would take up far too much time, but the important thing to note is how it put him squarely in the orbit of the fash out there, which brings up Pizzagate. Oh, he's friends with Jack. Oh, the guy who made post. Okay. Touted as proof that Jews. Wow. Hold on. Wait. Hold on. It also resulted in a guy from North Carolina named Edgar Madison Wells trying to shoot up the Comet Pizzeria in an effort to save the children being kept in the basement. He ended up getting 4 years for that, and things concerning Pizzagate died down a bit after the stunt. That is only because it became part of an even more cultish conspiracy campaign called QAnon. That overall is actually an updated version of the Protocols of the Elders of Zion. Okay, so it's ancient blood libel routine that says Jews are murdering Christian children so they can use their blood in the performance of religious rituals. House jumped in on this one pretty much from the onset, most notably urging people to check out YouTube channels that focused on it and spreading the canon that the talk of pizza mentioned in Hillary Clinton. The canard, yeah. And Vosh called it. He's like, I think you're a fascist. The way it called Nico House a fascist. He straight up said it. He's like, I think you're a fascist. And he's fucking right. He was proven right yet again, comrade. Okay, hold on. Friends with Magnus. Instead, he responded, I do what I want at my events. Okay, so you are just a fascist, Rome. I see. You just really like that authority, don't you? Oh, it's your event, so you can do whatever you want? No. Fuck you, buddy. It's our event. It's a march for Medicare for all. For fucking everyone. It's not your event. Fucking dipshit ass fascist. Yeah, he's not an anarchist. Mises and Rothbard, yeah. Exactly. I was trying to talk a lot about Murray Rothbard on episode 2 of his Unity or Death podcast. Of particular note is Rothbard's notion of child ownership, argued that we must face the fact that the purely free society will have a flourishing free market in children. This position is not an aberration, but the logical conclusion of Austrian economics and its reactionary conception of freedom that means freedom to exploit the labor, minds, and bodies of children. Yeah. See? So, the Boogaloo Boys are pedophiles. They are fascists. And the people who work with them, Unholy Rome, Jimmy Dore, what was her name? Fiora Isabel, they're just fascists. And they seem to be okay with pedophilia. What do you say to that? Like, how do you... Social anarchists want nothing to do with reactionaries who appropriate the label anarchist to apologize for capitalist hegemony and the exploitation of the weak by the strong. Yep, social anarchist communities are openly hostile to ANCAPs because they pose a threat to their egalitarian ambitions. Yeah, this explains why Zach had to go after unprincipled, anti-establishment electoralists within the progressive influencer industry instead of actual anarchists. MCSC, the thing that Rome and Nico House owns and Unholy Rome works for, have ties to the Jimmy Dore show. Dore has attended free Assange events organized by MCSC and platforms MCSC employees regularly. Yeah. Dore platformed Zach, which is Magnus, who's the leader of the fucking Proud Boys, who is a fucking Nazi, essentially. Like, why the fuck would they go with the 1488 bullshit? We're almost at an important number, huh? But we're not fascists. We're not Nazis. Why would you say that? We're just anarchists. You're not a fucking anarchist. Don't fucking lie to me. Michael Brooks said it fucking best. And he enjoyed talking to Breonna Joy Gray, but then Bree went to work with Jimmy Dore more so than anybody else. And Jimmy Dore does whataboutisms for fascism constantly. So, if you're here and you like Jimmy Dore, don't. He's not good. Just not good, folks. He's not. You know, this is huge. Okay, what time is it? We don't have that much time before my discussion. I've got 20 minutes. So, before that discussion begins, I would like to take a quick break. I've been here, as you can see, right here, an hour and 58 minutes and 30 seconds. That is quite a bit of time. Put that there. Move this back over to here, the way it should be. Yay! So I appreciate you all for being here. I will be right back. We're going to go back to the original starting screen thing because the new artwork is sick, bruh. It's sick. Wait, that's not it. There we go.
The kid's too smart to ever learn. Too on fire to feel the burn.
All right. Da, 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 da. I left my drink in the fucking fridge. Got about 12 minutes to cover all of the shit before I have my conversation with Erin about the Ben Burgiss debate. So let me go get my drink real fast, okay? All right, just real fast. All right. Get my old fucked up headphones. These things are super trash. I need to buy new ones at some point. But until I can actually earn money with YouTube, it's not a business expense. Although I use them all the fucking time. These are the headphones I have for work, everything. Okay. Let's see. Can I? Hello?
Hello, hello.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. A little bit of a frustrating day at work, but, outside of that, doing all right.
Yeah, I feel that. Hang on a sec, let me fix my cam. I was planning on straightening my hair, but I'm too lazy, so.
Yeah, let me go ahead and share the screen.
There we go.
Yeah,
That's better.
we'll do that.
A little bit. Perfect.
Okay. So, could you go ahead and introduce yourself for my stream, and I can go ahead and do that for yours as well?
Sure, yeah. I'm not streaming, but
Oh, okay.
this is Erin Green. I am a Pokemon streamer. Talk about politics sometimes. It's pretty cool. I have a YouTube channel, I have a Twitter, and I have a Twitch, and I have been streaming since 2013, so I enjoy it a lot.
Sweet, based. And pronouns, if you would.
Oh, she, her.
All right. And I am Daniel Sandwich Pants, and I kind of started streaming politics like 8 months ago. I've been doing videos and stuff. It was like old gaming content for 5 years now.
Mhm.
And he, him, anti-fascist, and narco-syndicalist.
Nice. Dope. I love it.
So, you had a debate with Ben Burgiss, what, about a week ago?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay. And I went ahead and went over it a bit on stream. I took some notes, kind of the overall vibe of the debate, and I went ahead and put a few things I think you could have held Ben to a little bit harder, because I think you did great in the debate overall. Let me just throw that out. I think you did wonderfully.
Thank you.
But there was a couple of things that you could have hit Ben on. There was a thing he said about conservatism and how like some of the stuff that people say is fascism is just basic conservatism.
Yeah.
And I think you could have pointed out maybe that conservatism kind of leads directly to fascism more often than not. But that one's not a huge deal, personally, in my opinion, because that should be more obvious to people who are a little more politically educated. He's a logic professor. I don't know how much he knows about poli-sci.
Right. Well, and it kind of did allude to that. Although I think you're right. I could have held his feet to the fire a little bit more. It was my first real like debate appearance with anyone. I really have never done any kind of like one-on-one back and forth like that before, so I'm
Right.
pretty proud about how it turned out. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, so that's kind of what I was alluding to with the with reading Mussolini's
Right.
Doctrine
You
of Fascism.
pointing out that there
Hmm.
was like a lot of, you did point to that there was a lot of tropes, but I think because I've
Yeah.
seeing some of the live chat and stuff like that, and
Hmm.
the comments and whatnot, because he turned off the live chat after a little while. I don't know exactly why,
Oh. Hmm.
but yeah, he turned it off after a while. I think people were going in hard on like how good you were doing and how much he was kind of flopping on this one. But
Mhm.
uh, I think a lot of the people weren't getting the more like elusive elements, and it would have been good to hit him with a bit more direct point. But
Sure.
overall, I think the elusive element kind of, you're telling him, hey, go read Doctrine of Fascism, which I actually
Right.
did pull up on my YouTube
Mm.
audiobooks after the debate and listen to, and I need to listen to it again because I have a bad memory.
Hmm.
But yeah, that I do remember thinking the big feeling I got was, wow, this really is pretty much just America today.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. That's what I mean, and that's what he's describing when he's talking about like what the ideals of fascism are, and what its goals are, and what it hopes to achieve, and stuff like that. And he really describes it as what I would consider a religion, and it really does kind of harken back to the attitude from a lot of people here in America today, especially with the whole like American dream thing. I think that honestly sounds pretty fascist to me, bro.
Oh yeah, and I do know some points. There was a huge discourse with Vosh a little bit ago about like indoctrination and stuff, and I see where some
Mm,
people were coming from because he was saying like we don't have indoctrination at the same level that people had in Nazi Germany. The
right.
propaganda is not as bad. And I do see where some people were coming from with like, hey, we've got the national anthem that we force children to do every day in elementary school. I don't know what it's like for kids now today,
Mhm.
but when I was in elementary school, like 20 something years ago, it was pretty heavy on the, George Washington never lied. He was a really
Yep.
good. He was a great person. You should follow his example.
Mhm. Yep. Absolutely. No, I agree, and that's the thing that first came to mind was, we do kind of indoctrinate kids to stand for the anthem. We do
Yeah.
tell them, I mean, look at what's happening in Texas, right? They're taking away all of the critical race theory things from, general education, and that involves also, the Americans' treatments of Native Americans and the way we did slavery and all that. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah, absolutely.
big yikes.
And then one point that I did want to really applaud you on is when he was in his opening statement. He had
Mhm.
talked about uh, he like cited Trotsky and was talking very specifically, like just not seeing that there were broader forms of fascism than just like the Central European fascism.
Right.
That it does have like different forms that it will take. And you made a
Mhm.
really good point of like saying, hey, fascism has changed over what, fucking 80 years, 90 years.
Yeah.
So I think that was a really good one to hold to because that's when people really started going, hey, I think Aaron's doing pretty good here.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's true because like when you think about it, the world that we live in today is vastly different from the world that people lived in like 60, 70, 80 years ago. Consider how connected people are today. And this was another thing that Sam Cedar was trying to you know, bring to Ben's attention. I watched one of their conversations about the topic, and one of the things that Sam brought up a lot was the fact that people are more connected now than they ever have been in the entire, record of human history. With the advent of the internet and social media and places like Twitter and, I mean, even Parler and Rockfin and some of those, grifty places, people are more connected now than they ever have been. at any other time in recorded history. And so to take, the context we live in today and say, oh yeah, it can't be fascism unless it looks exactly like what it did like 60, 70 years ago, it's just ignorant. I don't think it's a good point, and I don't think it holds any water.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. It's kind of like he was really hammering down on like fascism has the in quotes I put the street fight mentality and movement,
right.
and I think that really ignores people like Richard Spencer, Nick Fuentes, who are they're Nazis, but Nazi is a branch off of fascism in my opinion.
Right.
And he also ignores like the Boogaloo Boys, who don't always just go out and engage in street violence, and the
Yeah.
Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and the Three Percenters. Not everything they do is violence. They have people who do try and do like more quote unquote legitimate works.
Yeah.
And he believes that the military would be needed for a coup. And I mean, that's exactly what Chief Staff said, but I don't necessarily think
Yeah.
that's true.
I don't think you would need. So, for something to succeed, I think you would need something like that. I think you would need some support of insiders. I think you would need, police and military personnel. You would need politicians and stuff to be in on it. But when you would take a look at what happened here in January 6th, right? We had people like Jim Jordan. We had people like Madison Cawthorn. We had people like Rudy Giuliani, all hyping these people up, right? And these people were officials or are officials or had some sort of, political power at some point. Yeah, Marjorie Taylor Greene. And then we also take a look at some of the officers who sympathize with the protesters, right? There was that big discussion about whether an officer, moved the gate and allowed people to come in the first place, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah.
We also have like tons of military personnel that sympathize with three percenters and white nationalists. So, to sit here and say, well, we would need the full backing of the official military, I don't think that's going to happen.
No.
Not until we get like 90% of the people that are working these jobs as like white nationalists. But I think we're pretty close. We're getting there. A lot of the ideas that permeate the police and the military and this like toxic masculinity culture, it really fits 1-to-1 with fascism. And it's a really dangerous line that we're walking here by just simply ignoring it and saying, oh, well, not a coup attempt because, I don't know, nobody officially said the word coup. So,
right. I do want to put a little. I personally, I don't think you absolutely need the military for a coup. I just think you don't need the military to interfere against you.
Yeah.
If they show apathy, then it can work. But you do need them not to stand against you, and they would have in this case if it was needed.
Yeah.
And with the military culture, it's really interesting because having family members who grew up in conservative Christian Oklahoma went to the military. I have an uncle and an older brother. Two of my siblings are trans. My older brother is trans-masked.
Cool.
And
very nice.
He went into the military, into the Navy, and my uncle went into the Marines, and both of them came out actually way further left wing.
Yeah, that happens a lot, actually.
It tends to be a radicalizing force,
and
not the way that the government actually wants.
Yeah, no, I think a lot of people, they join the military with these kind of fascistic ideals and with these principles and stuff, and then they have to put those into action and find that they're not too comfortable with it, or
I mean,
turns out, the military ends up not really caring about you as a person. Sorry, but yeah, I do find that, after a certain number of years of service or whatever, the military is actually a good force for radicalization toward the left, even, which you wouldn't normally think given the attitude about it. But it really does seem kind of like a cult or a religion with a lot of these right-wingers and their attitudes towards the police and the military. And how they're just like, don't ever question military personnel, don't ever question police officers and stuff like that. It just seems, I don't know.
Don't you dare ever criticize this officer. Don't you criticize this Marine. I swear to God.
Right. Yeah.
But
exactly. Oh, you hate America. And we saw a lot of that in the 2000s right after 9/11. You know, when people would criticize military personnel or police officers or what have you, people were really quick to bring up, you know, oh, 9/11, how dare you? How dare you insult these people? They're fighting for your freedom and blah 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 all this stuff. But you know, I'm glad that's kind of died down,
A bit.
and we're not seeing that attitude as much. But yeah, it is pretty scary because a lot of the same um, a lot of the same things that happened at January 6th, I could feel a lot of the same attitude from Republicans specifically and other right-wing people. That was true for 9/11. And the reason that I don't think we're close to losing any more of our security as a people is because we do have a strong opposition party, um, in that, for once, the Republicans do not want to expand that kind of security because it would hurt their base the most. Because this is targeting the Republican base. So even though I disagree with Republicans on most things, you know, I don't think we're dangerously close to losing our securities because we do have an opposition. Whereas when we compare it to like 2001 and what happened after 9/11, both parties were pretty much united on this front. Everybody agreed. You know, everybody said, okay, yeah, whatever liberties we have to give up in order to make sure terrorists don't come through and bomb another building, fine, I'm okay with it. And both parties were behind that full throat. You even saw programs like The Daily Show with Jon Stewart, who were doing surprisingly encouraging things at the start, and then as the war, you know, dragged on, obviously that messaging pulled back a little to the left. But when things started happening, yeah, we did see, you know, certain media personalities and stuff start to repeat a bunch of right-wing talking points because of this sense of unity that the two parties had regarding this issue. And I just don't see that with 1/6 at all. So.
No, the Republicans definitely don't want an expansion to security. And I
Yeah,
mean, to be
no.
fair, I saw a contradiction with what he was saying, kind of back to back. He said that he wants the state to crack down more on all forms of violence, and then he turns around and says he doesn't want gross state overreach with surveillance. Well, how do you want him to crack down on all forms of violence more if you don't want him to expand the security state and the surveillance state? That's a natural byproduct. Like that's a conclusion logical link.
Right. Well, I mean, if you go to Ben Burgiss's channel, he's still litigating the thing. Honestly, he literally just had another conversation with him, and I think the person he wrote his article with was named Daniel Bessner. And so it was him and Daniel and two other people who I guess ran some kind of left-wing podcast or something like that. But they wanted to talk to them. And it was last night, and I think I actually have plans with Andrea Ravinsky, to watch this on her channel and react to it. So we've got that ahead of us. But ultimately, you know, it really just does feel like another like, oh, I'm going to take this niche position and defend it and find a technicality that I can say, oh, well, I'm technically correct in this one area, and then use that as a vehicle to grift and write all kinds of articles and just, I don't know. It just seems like a moot point to argue.
It is. You said he's still doing it, and then he talked to Daniel Bessner.
Yeah.
And
well, I mean,
Matthew
it was him and Daniel and
Sitman,
two other guys. Yeah.
Sitman and Sam Adler Bell.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, that was yesterday, and 5 minutes ago, uploaded "Is It Fascism" with Matt Leck.
You know, I wish we could get my conversation with Ben in front of Matt. That would be cool.
I think Matt watched it.
Really? Oh, that's interesting.
Because I mean, Matt doesn't have that many subscribers overall, and but he they talked to Ben because of the interactions with Michael.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Matt watches Ben Burgiss do things sometimes, and I don't know for a fact if he did, but
cool.
I think
well, that's exciting.
I think I saw he was live watching it, and I mean, I'm gonna have to watch that video later. That's gonna be amazing.
Oh yeah, no, I would love to dig through his channel and see if he watched it, and then just like see what his reaction to it was, because I think honestly my best point in the entire night was getting him on the doctrine of fascism thing. I think especially as a college professor, if you're gonna bloviate about fascism online, you should at least do a little bit of research into what fascism is.
Yeah. I do like you mentioning that calling the thing an insurrection is good optically.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, you dove in on you mentioned that the state prosecutes on intent all the time, so you can't rule that out as a
Yeah.
motive. And then
Absolutely. Well, and yeah, I think primarily ruling as a motive is something that we do every day here in the United States. And a lot of people bring up intent to murder as the first one. It doesn't have to be that serious.
intent to cause
intent
bodily
to
harm.
Yeah, intent to cause bodily harm or abetting in the delinquency of a minor. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but that's just basically helping someone underage do something they shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes or getting a beer or something.
Right. Yeah, exactly. If you bought, beer for a minor, that's one of the things you'd be charged with. And then another big one is intent to distribute. So if you have a whole bunch of drugs or something like that, the cops can get you on intent to distribute, even if you don't have the intent to distribute. Even if, like, let's say you bought a whole bunch of weed or a whole bunch of cocaine and it's sitting in your trunk, right? And you've got a ton of little tiny baggies in your glove compartment because your intent is to go home and bag these up into little baggies and, like,
Stash
I
them
don't know.
away in your room somewhere.
Yeah, exactly. So that you schedule your drug use and stuff, you don't end up doing a whole bunch at once. But if the cops see that, they can get you on intent to distribute just because you have that. And, whether that's right or not, that's up for debate. But the point is that we do prosecute for intent here in the United States, and that this should be no different.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, one of the things that really kind of got me was when, okay, so he kind of equated in the debate, he kind of equated the entire thing. He says it's a riot, and then he equated it to the BLM protests.
Uh-huh.
Now, this bothered me immensely because he ignored like all the video evidence of people hunting for Congress people. Literally, like he brings up the like I think you brought up the noose, and he or maybe he did. I don't remember who brought it
No,
up.
I think he brought up the noose.
And
Yeah.
then he was like, but then he was like, oh, but the gallows thing that people use as a prop. Yeah, but they're usually walking with it as a prop and then just saying something blithely like "eat the rich" or something. But they're not like targeting a person. This was
Right.
hang Mike Pence.
Yeah, exactly. This was targeted, and this is something that comes up a lot in conversations about 1/6 that Ben Burgiss doesn't really like to address. But people were targeting specific people. If you look at any of the videos and stuff, I even did a stream where I watched a whole bunch of footage that was just from 1/6 of people going around and like recording other people and seeing what the event was doing. Just on the ground footage is all I was watching, and multiple times in the video you can see very clearly people calling for, we're coming for you, Nancy, we're coming for you, AOC, hang Mike Pence and stuff like this, and y'all are traitors and blah blah blah, all this stuff. Yeah, so yeah, this absolutely was targeted. They had a list of people that they wanted to get to. Mike Pence probably was toward the bottom comparatively to like Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, and the squad and stuff like that. But they did have priorities, and they were within seconds, less than a minute, of getting to Mike Pence. So this is something that we really shouldn't be taking lightly. And I don't know if you watched his conversation with David Feldman, but yeah, I think Feldman really hammered home to him what the problem is with his take on this. But I guess not, because he's still talking about it. So
Wait. He talked to David Feldman because David Feldman is the comedian guy. He's funny as hell.
Yeah, no, I love David Feldman.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure I'm thinking of the right guy there. Okay, I have to see that.
Yeah, no, it's a great conversation. Andrea and I actually, wait, did we do it together or did she do it? I can't remember. But I know that one of us had gone over the footage of his debate with Feldman and stuff like that. And yeah, ultimately that was, again, 0 for 2. on this. I would say, I didn't actually watch his conversation with the four people here last night. I didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
But that's still pending. But I'm assuming 0 and 3 right now, and then his next one's going to be 0 and 4. So we'll see. We'll see. But so far, yeah, I don't know. I think his attitude about 1/6 is simply just to be contrarian and for no other reason, and I don't find it helpful. I actually find it kind of harmful.
That's
So-
actually my take on it overall, because yeah, like he ignores the Joint Chiefs of Staff being concerned that Trump would try and use the military for a coup, downplays the threat
Mhm.
because of his age and the unstable conspiracy theory beliefs of the participants. Like that makes them any less dangerous.
Yeah.
And says having that level of political violence isn't unique. Look at the riots that happened over the summer. Which
Man, see, and here's the thing: is that like the BLM riots were not. They didn't have violent intent. Okay, they didn't start as riots, right?
No.
This whole thing with 1/6 started as a violent event, right? People had the intent of showing up to get justice and overturn the election results, but again, to them, it wasn't overturning. It was making sure the person who won, in their eyes, actually won. And so it, in my eyes, was an attempt to perform a coup. Whether that was a successful attempt, whether they had any chance of success at all from the beginning, that's up for debate. I would concede probably not. But that doesn't make it not an attempt, right? Just because you fail at something does not mean that you didn't attempt it.
Yeah.
And we see that with attempted murder
Yeah, I was gonna say,
all
I'd
the
like to
time.
cite
So
attempted murder as a source of evidence.
yeah. So I don't know. I felt like it was a really easy debate because a lot of his arguments don't really hold water. I feel like I over prepared for it because I was nervous. But I don't know. I felt like it was pretty easy, and other people that I've talked to seem to think that I did pretty well. And it being my first appearance, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching the entire thing from Burgess's channel, and I was like, I'm gonna see how well Erin does here. I'm sitting
Hell
there
yeah.
watching about halfway through. I'm like, all right, does Erin actually? Because I saw on your Twitter that you have a Twitch thing, so I looked through and I was like, oh, okay, it's a Curious Cat. All links, YouTube, subscribe.
Hell yeah.
So and I told people because I was watching it on stream, I'm like, go subscribe, go.
Well, thank you.
So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have many viewers, and one of them that's currently watching is the person who told me to go and watch your discussion. So, that's all.
Yeah, that's
thanks
awesome.
to, it's a Froge Foible.
Oh yeah, no, I love Froge.
Froge,
Yeah,
yeah,
he and
Froge
I
is-
have talked for a long time, so
Yeah, Froge is great.
yeah, he's great.
So, that's actually how I came across this entire
Oh,
debacle
nice.
with Ben, and it's been great. Like, I literally did more notes on this than I think I really needed to, but I was really excited because I was like, yeah, I need to document this because I'm actually supposed to talk to Froge about it myself. But
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Uh,
No, I mean we had a post debate conversation that's up on my YouTube channel. It's like almost 2 hours long. I talked to Froge longer than I talked to anybody else about it, but he had a lot to say and he's really passionate. So I really appreciate his feedback. It's really really valuable for me.
yeah, that Froge is a very valuable person and to everybody, I think.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So
I agree.
the thing that I really liked the most, I think. Oh, I put a note in here. Where is it? It was you had redirected him multiple times to. I gotta find the note. Oh, you redirected him to try and push for the dismantling of the NSA since they already exist. That was a really good rhetorical flair, I think.
Yeah.
You just turned.
No,
and
I
like,
agree.
Hey,
Mhm.
you should. You're worried about the security state, the surveillance state. Maybe you should push for the dismantling of the NSA.
Right.
And
Well, and it's good to hear that he agreed, right? Because he
Oh.
did say, I agree that these things should be dismantled. ICE and stuff like that don't have no reason to exist. So, I totally, I'm glad that I was able to kind of redirect him and get him to agree with me on that point. And I think that was my goal a lot for the event. It was because I went into it thinking that, we're going to agree on a lot of this stuff because we're both relatively on the left. We both have the same general idea of, what's right and what's not. I was a big subscriber to Michael Brooks stuff, and I know he was too. And so I just think that, there was a lot of the stuff from the get-go that we were going to agree on. But I think I wanted to specify like the little points that we disagreed and just kind of highlight his ignorance in those areas and just make sure that that was being shown, because talking about it like it wasn't some kind of attempt on our democracy is just dismissive at best, and I don't know, agitprop at the worst.
Yeah,
Like,
seriously, actually harmful.
yeah. So, but I mean, I don't know. It depends. I would say that, I'm thankful that he gave me the opportunity to have a conversation. I don't think that, I think I was a little bit more prepared for it than he was ready for. And I think at the very end, when he was asking me about my true positions and stuff like that, and he thought that I had a different position than what I actually had, I think that was another good point of the debate. Because I think it highlighted the fact that he kind of has this assumption about leftists on Twitter that he interacts with. And I think it was good to break free of that assumption and kind of show him an alternative and say, hey, yeah, American state is kind of fascist.
Yeah.
So, but I'm glad to hear that he took it seriously and that he said he was going to do homework and actually read it. I don't know if he actually did or not. It'd be interesting to see him stream reading it and then say, oh yeah, Erin was right. Look at all this. Oh, sure enough. But
Yeah,
I don't
but
think that's ever going to happen.
probably not. He likes to do a lot of discussions and stuff on his show.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's easy to take a controversial opinion and then go on Twitter and say, hey, anybody want to debate me on this controversial thing? Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, I believe that is called the Stephen Bunnell school of thought.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and it's kind of sad because we're seeing I don't know if you're familiar with her, but Riley Grace Rochon.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
kind of
actually
like
in her
falling
Discord.
into the same. Oh, really?
Mhm.
Nice. Yeah, I would be banned from it
I
because she has me blocked on Twitter. So
I do not interact. I think I'm blocked on Twitter, but I never interact in the Discord. I just go to the research papers.
oh yeah.
That's
Okay.
it.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I'm disappointed. I was disappointed with her Kink at Pride takes, and there was some other take that she had prior to that that was just garbage, and I can't remember what it was, but
Some
it's
of
the
her
big Kink at Pride thing that really fucking drew it for me, and it was sad to hear Vosh have similar opinions, because I kind of respect Vosh,
Yeah,
um,
that is
and
one where I had like mild disagreements with. At least the presentation,
yeah,
the semi walked back on stream bit, or at least the discussion
yeah,
with Demon Mama was a bit
right.
better.
Okay,
Because I mean,
that's good.
I don't think that there like if you at least there should be like child friendly areas, you know?
Right. Yeah. Well, to his point, he was saying that, I don't think that everything should be just like adults only. And that's fair, but also that's how things are today, right?
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to take that position if that's how things are today, unless your intent is to make people think that that's not how things are today. And that's where I kind of drew issue with it. Was that it was kind of, it was kind of giving validity to that argument that all of the Pride events just have people flailing their dicks around constantly. And let me just clarify, a lot of this kink at Pride discourse is just people not liking the idea of seeing a penis. It's very, very phallophobic, if that's a word.
Yeah.
But a lot of these conversations don't include cis men or cis women or trans men at all. A lot of these conversations are centered around trans women. And a lot of it is, oh, well, you're just wearing these clothes because it makes your penis hard. And when you boil it down, a lot of these dissenters' opinions, it ends up being equivalent to, oh, well, you're wearing this to get off. And
Yeah.
that justification can be used to then persecute
a lot.
trans women or trans men or anybody else that you think is wearing clothes to just get off or whatever. And that's the dangerous part, right? When we start policing what people are wearing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought about it for a minute, hearing the takes overall, because I do follow Vosh. I listen to a lot of actually pretty much all of his content. I don't watch all of his live streams and stuff, but video segments and stuff I'll listen to while I'm at work, and then I'll go over and listen to some other people. I even listen to people I disagree with, like fucking socialist MMA.
Yeah.
Because I like to hear the perspectives of other people. I listen to some Jimmy Dore. I fucking hate Jimmy Dore. But I do listen to some Jimmy Dore. So, listening to Vosh, I thought when on the whole thing, I think it was a misunderstanding on his part. He misunderstood what people were saying with Can't Get Pride, and his immediate thought was literally just like sex behind dumpsters and just in the streets and shit kind of problem. And he's like, no, you shouldn't do that.
Right.
Kids, you want kids to be able to go there so that they can see representation and be like, hey.
Sure. But I mean, and, you know, for the sake of argument, there will be people that show up to a pride event and use it as an opportunity to meet somebody they want to have sex with. Okay? It's just how it's how it happens. It happens a lot in the gay male community, not so much the trans woman community or the trans man community, but it happens a lot in the gay man community. Okay? So if you want to focus your ire on any group, make it the people who want to go out in public and have sex, right? Make it the people who actually want this to happen. And I'm not saying that you know, you should focus your ire on gay men at all, but exhibitionists, you know, people who want to be nude in public. That's the people you should be focusing your attention on. And make sure that whatever kind of, you know, regulation you want to put in for them, that there's not already laws against this, right? Because public indecency is a thing. You can't have sex in public, right? Like some of this stuff, there's already laws against. Okay, so it's not like a pride event would make them immune to the rest of the law. Okay, so you can get arrested at a pride event for being naked in public. It's just how it goes, right? If the event is, you know, not safe for work and 18 plus, and they've got the whole thing sequestered, that's a different story. Right? But those events are few and far between compared to, you know, mainstream pride events, where it's mostly the parade and stuff like that. And I don't know. I just think, you know, you should make sure that whatever argument you're going to put forward is not going to come back and harm the people you claim to protect.
Yeah.
And with a lot of these anti-kink at pride, you know, takes that I've seen from RGR and Vosh and some other people, it would. It absolutely would come back and harm trans people and even cross-dressers, right? Cross-dressers would probably be more affected than trans women, right? Because, I mean, all they're doing is just wearing clothing that's different from their assigned gender or whatever. That's it. They're not, you know, they're not getting off or anything, but that justification can be used. Oh, penis inspection. Let's make sure it's not hard. Come on, let's whip it out. Yeah, and that's just not appropriate. I don't think that's. Yeah,
I think that one, like, Conyer would be caught up in that. I bet Conyer talked to Vosh about that one. Like, hey, you can't be doing this. Because I think Vosh walked back a lot of shit. It took like 2 days because he's stubborn and a bit narcissistic. But
well, and you know, I unfollowed him for a while because of it, because I just, you know, he was taking a hardline stance on it, and I just didn't want to see any of it, because it's just so frustrating to see people that you respect just kind of parrot these talking points that will be used against you, and you know it, and you know they're not seeing it because they're not part of your community. But it's also really sad to see people like Vosh do it, because Vosh has a really, really strong transgender base. People like RGR, because RGR is transgender herself.
That's why Demon Mama was so hurt by all the whole thing. Like, mad at RGR, mad at Vosh. That was a heated ass debate.
Yeah. Like, and rightfully so, because I feel like Demon Mama was 100% correct in all that. And I actually started watching her more.
Yeah, I did too. Because like just hearing it and just like, because at first I'm just like, you know, a little bit of favoritism there. I'm like, nah, come on. I mean, listen to what do you think is wrong with Vosh's statement? And she's just like hammering down on all these points, and I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, maybe I need to think about this more.
Yeah.
And I think honestly that and some of the other people that he talked to kind of did fix that,
Yeah.
or at least
Well,
leveled out
and
the take more.
I think our big enemy collectively is like the TERFs and those radfems and stuff like that. I think that's the kind of discourse we need to be pushing against. And I think this whole kink it pride thing only serves to enable them. Yeah, I don't think it helps push against their narrative or their claims or anything like that. I think it just gives them ammo. It just gives them firing power. To say, oh, look at this left-wing creator, look at this trans person who agrees with me, look at all this degeneracy. Yeah, I just think it validates their arguments, and I think that's unhelpful.
Yeah, I agree entirely. So, well, yeah. I'm blocked by so many TERFs.
Oh yeah, me too. I'm blocked by
point.
Shu. I'm blocked by RGR. I don't see half these people's tweets. So
I'm actually not blocked by Shu, but
oh.
You can kind of always spy on your enemy.
Oh yeah. Well, do you know why I'm blocked by Shu? Can I tell you real quick?
Yeah, sure, go for it.
I'm blocked by Shu because I said people should be critical of her relationship to Blair White.
Absolutely valid. Now, Shu does not like criticism.
I know.
Shu
Oh
is
yeah,
so
absolutely.
fucking fragile. Holy shit.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
what
yeah.
I don't get is how she can tolerate Vosh at that rate.
Horny.
Have you ever heard the way that Vosh sometimes will reference her in stream?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like with the lemon curd bagel?
Yeah.
Even on that one, I mean, at first I laughed because being that fucking just open about being that hostile to Shu was funny to me.
Right.
And then I'm just like,
Yeah.
Vosh, come on. Even Hyena's like, come on.
Yeah. Well, it's just really hard for me because these are people that are big in left-wing spaces, that are respected in left-wing space. These are big left-wing YouTubers, right?
Yeah.
The alternative, the right-wing YouTubers, they all seem to be unified on their message, right? That trans people are degenerates and that gay people are degenerates and that everything just needs to be straight cis, right? And it's sad for me to see some of these big left-wing people kind of play both sides, where they're like, oh yeah, well, this person's not entirely right, but this person's not entirely right, and all this stuff. It's harmful. And we don't have the strong allies as trans people that we need today. I still think, even with ContraPoints and even with all these other big trans creators like Cat Black and stuff like that, I still think, we still need a lot more to get to the point where cis people are, where they have people, fighting for their talking points and saying their arguments well thought out, that the right wing has. And we need a collective unity. We can't have different leftists fighting each other about, what definition of kink we have. Can't we all just sit here and agree that, yeah, if you're naked in public, you should probably not be naked in public? Like, that's just...
Yeah, no, see that, yeah.
I don't know. And that's something that nobody I know would disagree with. But when you start to narrow it down to, like, kink, well, I don't know. There's tons of kink things that don't involve you being naked. So, and another good point that was brought up was the foot fetishists, right? Like, if a foot fetishist goes out in public barefoot, right? Nobody's going to know the difference. Nobody's going to know that that's a sexual thing. But in RGR's mind, right, it is a sexual thing because they're getting off on it. And so it shouldn't be allowed. But it's so fucking blows my mind. How are you going to police that? Huh? Without penis, without genital inspections, how are you going to police that? How are you going to police when someone's turned on by not having shoes on?
You literally can't.
You can't.
There's no way. You have to check.
There's no way.
It does enable the... Okay, the camera's not going to work. I didn't even realize my camera wasn't on.
That's okay.
But no, that does enable like the right wing legislation that they were pushing for literal genital inspection for bathrooms.
Yeah.
Like, come on, you, there is harmful discourse. Personally, it would have been better if Vosh never touched it. It would have
Yeah.
been better if RGR never touched it.
Yeah.
It just shouldn't have been. It. Who even started it? Who the fuck started that?
I don't even know. Probably Destiny.
Probably.
If we're gonna be honest, it was probably Destiny.
Why does
He likes to do that, where he just like throws a fucking firebomb into the middle of a crowd and just like run away.
And then laughs about it on his stream later.
Yeah.
About how dumb Twitter lefties are. I really despise Destiny. I watched him for a little bit, because he was trashing Mike from PA, and
Yeah.
that's very funny to me. But at a certain point, you go, that's a little too much, man. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, I watched him for a long time, especially when he was doing like his blood sports and stuff with like Nick Fuentes and all that. That was a number of years ago now at this point. It was like 2016, 2018, something like that.
yeah,
And I don't know. It seems like he kind of just dried up the well on that and had to move to a different grift and is now taking a more centrist position. I don't know. But there for a long time, he was pretty far leftist as far as his positions against some of these right wingers that he was debating was.
I
And
think
I
he's
don't.
always said he's like socially leftist, but economically liberal.
Yeah.
So he always tries to say he's super consistent, but after watching like debates from like 7-8 months old to today, it's like no,
Yeah.
you are not consistent, bro. You are just a
No.
contrarian. You're consistent in being a contrarian. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Well, and that's kind of what we're seeing from the Jimmy Dore crowd.
Yeah.
Is that they're just, I don't know, just zero actual political analysis. It's just squad bad, laugh emoji, and that's it. So
The thing I absolutely lost it at. I was mad and happy that he said it at the same time. Was that Pelosi was going to primary AOC from the left?
Huh?
What? What?
Yeah, good luck. I hope it happens.
I nearly died from two conflicting emotions at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't. That was pretty bad. That was pretty bad.
See, I don't know. Listening to him yell about the like force the vote stuff, he was just like, he said that nobody could come up with any arguments against it that were consistent, and I immediately had like 2 or 3 that I could throw at him. I legitimately went, Jimmy,
Yeah.
I have no YouTube following at all. I don't profit at all from this. This is not for anything. I just want to expose how dumb this strategy is. He never reached out to it, never did anything,
course.
never responded.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, okay, you say like using his logic even. I have a scenario for that one. There's no difference between the Dems and the Republicans, right? He says this.
Mhm.
Why would she kowtow to 4 leftists when she could turn to 4 Republicans and say, "Hey, I'll give you these concessions. You vote for me, and we can spin it this way. You guys can run your narrative over here, and I can run my narrative over here about bipartisanship."
Yeah.
We both
It was a
stopped.
failed idea he thought up one night when he was drunk and thought he could grift off of it. And for some reason, he was able to convince Brianna Joy Gray and Nick Brana and a whole bunch of other people to jump on board. And now, what, almost 8, 9 months later, 10 months later, they're still talking about it. Like, the window is passed, honey. I'm sorry. Nancy Pelosi's going to be speaker for the foreseeable future till she fucking croaks or dies or retires or whatever. But it's looking like that's going to be the case. And so now you need to pivot and change your strategy because it's not a strategy anymore.
Did you see the post about where is it? There was a post about the March for Medicare for All. Here we go.
Oh God.
Entry to fascism, a fascist entryism into March for Medicare for All.
Mm.
And it's about how they failed by working with, who was it? Was it Magnus and the Boogaloo
Mm-hmm.
Boys,
Yeah.
and also Matthew Heimbach.
Yep. Well, supposedly, he was never planned to be there. Supposedly, it was an infiltrator that got access to their team, was able to get on the graphic design team, and then got that pushed forward to them, and they made a graphic for it. Apparently, that was what had happened. Now, I don't know if there's ever any evidence to come out to support that. I don't know if that bad actor was ever revealed. But it just goes to show poor organization from the march itself, and lack of vetting for the people that they allow into their organization and allow to make these decisions. And that's the problem, right? Is that it's not a serious organization because you're just allowing anybody on Twitter who agrees with your force the vote strategy to come on and be a big part of your team. And that's dangerous because it opens you up to this kind of infiltration, right? If you don't have that proper vetting, if you don't have proper moderators in your Slack channel. So
yeah, and they definitely don't. They even admitted, like, there's straight up screenshots.
Yeah.
Let's see, they're right here, where somebody said we need a new Slack that is invite only, and they're just like, honestly, we don't have time for all that. If people want it, then do whatever. I'm fine with it, but we don't have time for it. And other people are just like, hey, we're looking for new cities, and we need to get the vetting process started. And then people are just like, in the interim, can we just have a savvy person check them out?
Huh.
And I think they just stuck with that.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how privy you are to recent events in my life, but I actually was on the receiving end of a bunch of hate from some March for Medicare for All people.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because Savage Joy did a interview with Ron Placone on his show. And during the interview, she talked about the cost for the march and how she put the costs for the march on her charge cards. So she's working with like $3,000+ of credit card debt, and that nobody was offering to help, and that she's going to have to work to pay it off herself. So hearing that, I felt a lot of empathy for her.
Right.
Decided, good idea. Let's try to get some of these quote-unquote G-Hive people to get on board with saying, okay, look, you were taken advantage of by these people who just wanted to use your event as a means to promote their platforms. Fiorella Isabel and Jimmy Dore and all that, which, by the way, first mistake was mentioning Jimmy Dore. Never mention Jimmy Dore.
Oh, I do all the time.
Oh, well, the cultists will come out and they will come for you.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Good. But yeah, so I made the GoFundMe and everything, and in the less than 2 hours it was up. We raised like $160 for her, which was really cool.
Oh, yeah.
And then around that time, she actually got wind of it and assumed that because I was mutual friends with Jeff, that this was some kind of attempt to make her look bad. And so she blasted it out to her 20,000 followers and said, go report this person. Some of her followers, I have screenshots of their tweets where they said, I reported her Twitter for a bunch of reasons. I didn't know which one would best get her suspended.
Wow.
Yeah. And this was the kind of reception that I got to seeing someone in need and trying to organize a mutual aid effort to relieve their debt. And so when I saw all that, I was still at work, and I had like 40 people in my quote tweets that were quote tweeting my thing and saying, "Oh, this is fake," or "You should be ashamed of yourself," or "You are a literal garbage human being for doing this, for trying to raise money for somebody who is in debt. I'm a garbage human being." And so I had a lot of that, and so I went ahead and I refunded all the donations. It was only $160. It wasn't that much. The goal was like $4,000. She said she had $3,000 in debt. I figured, boost your savings a little bit. Let's get it $4,000. But yeah, so I refunded everything. I closed the thing down, and still her followers were coming to attack me. So I'm since blocked. I have no interaction with her anymore. She's not blocked on my end, and I don't blame her for feeling suspicious, because there have been a lot of people trying to take advantage of her, but that's the thing. right? Is that like that was the point of me starting the whole thing, was because so many people were taking advantage of her goodwill and her organizing effort to try to get this Medicare for all thing, albeit a little short-sighted on her part, but good effort, right? The intentions were pure. And I feel like a lot of the people that she surrounded herself did not have pure intentions. And I felt bad for that because her intentions were good. She wanted to get Medicare for all for everybody. She wanted to do everything that she could to do it. And a lot of these people came in and saw, oh, look at all these people retweeting this. If I jump on, I get a speakership, then my platform's going to blow up, right? If I had, if I was in this cult or whatever, I would have tried to get, speakership at one of my local events so that my channel blew up, right? And that's just what these people think. And that's what I would think too. But just saying, like, that's the kind of shit that I was dealing with here this week. And, whether it was deserved or not, that's another story. But, my intentions, again, were totally pure. I had no reason. But the big thing was that, I saw this video that was posted by somebody that was a clip of her interview. And I said, the sad part is, if Jimmy Dore saw this, he's not going to contribute anything, right? So it's on us to make sure that she's made whole again, right? And I was more pointing this toward a call of action. But because I mentioned Jimmy Dore, because I said Jimmy Dore's name, everybody was like, oh, you're using this as an attempt to smear Jimmy Dore. His whole entire cult came out and was just like, how dare you say negative things about Jimmy Dore? And it was just frustrating because none of it was about Jimmy Dore. It was all about her. And even she herself was like, oh yeah, I think she's just doing this as a way to smear Jimmy Dore. Obviously, there's no question about it, right? And that she was saying, I don't want any fighting, I don't want any harassment, nobody go harass her. And then in the same hour, she was tweeting, oh yeah, this is obviously an attempt to smear Jimmy Dore or an attempt to smear me in the future. Just total conspiracy theory. Didn't even bother to reach out to me ahead of time before she, blasted this out. But whatever.
Yeah, there's actually a section in here in this thing that about the March for Medicare for All thing.
Mm-hmm.
It says March for Medicare for All circles the wagons. Initially, CROH Lehigh Valley worked closely with other anti-fascist researchers to offer good faith suggestions. Unfortunately, the leadership of March for Medicare for All has responded only with defensiveness and false claims that all critiques of their organizing were trolling or part of an establishment psyop.
Yep.
Straight conspiracism.
Yep. And that's what we saw. And if you were critical of Force the Vote or you were critical of March for Medicare for All, these people would come out of the woodwork and they would say, oh, which DNC operation is paying you? Which CIA operative are you that's coming around saying these activists are doing wrong by trying to march for Medicare for All? Well, no, we're not saying you're doing wrong. We're just offering a little bit of fucking critique so that you don't fuck up your whole event by inviting a bunch of Nazis, okay? That's the thing. So
we don't want you having Nazis and fascists, and we want to actually make sure that it's like actually, a successful event, because I watched the one from New York and there was like 20 people.
Yeah.
That were there.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, was this even really worth all the time you put into organizing when you didn't even get people out really? And one of the people who was there, I'm 90% sure, was Zach Doherty, aka Magnus Panvidya.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if I can find it on my likes right now, but there was an article that actually came out a couple days after the March event had ended. That was basically like saying, well, this is kind of the death gasp of Medicare for All, because so few people attended, because the event was infiltrated by bad actors, because the organization was so poor, right? Because the funds are not being released, and then the proper the ledgers are not accounted for. According to what financials are available, everything has been paid for. Whether that's been reimbursed or not is yet to be determined. There is I think a plus like $2,000 or $3,000 that they have to just play around with after everything gets reimbursed. So really, and this was after I had organized that fundraising effort for Joy. Really, I don't see how she had to go into debt for any of this, because they had a financial sponsor that paid for all of it.
Yeah.
So why did she have to put shit on her charge cards? Or why is she going on Ron Placone's show and saying that she put stuff on her charge cards?
She probably wants to raise it sympathy in other ways. In that case, yeah, because I was gonna say, like, I looked at the financials for like the People's Party, and they have funds funneling to the March for Medicare for All, and the director getting paid. That's actually the biggest expense if you look at their thing, is the operations director getting like 4 checks at $17.25, a check at $1,500, and 2 checks at $1,850 with over a 3-month period.
Yeah. Yep. Well,
what the hell? That's
a good question.
It was like $12,000 in 3 months.
Why do you think I'm going to be using a fundraising effort to smear you? How do you think that's possible?
It's not. I mean, maybe if she was like super poor and you were trying to do it, be like, haha, this person has no money, donate to them. That might be.
What if it was? What if everything was paid for, and you went on a show lying about your debt, right? And then somebody else wanted to make a fundraising effort for you to kind of make up for that. And then a few days later, your financials are released and everything was paid for from the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was probably a move to try and siphon a bunch of money, and then didn't think about having to release the financials as an organization.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, if what she's saying is true, I feel bad. I feel bad that she was taken advantage of by these people with large platforms that make thousands of dollars a month off of their YouTube channels, that they showed up to this event and used it as an opportunity to promote their platforms and didn't contribute at all to what debt she had. Didn't care at all. She's just, okay, yep, you are the main organizer of the event. Fuck you. If you're in debt because of it, it's not my problem.
Right, yeah.
And I didn't see that as being right. Okay? That still makes me mad. I'm still mad for her about it, provided that is actually what happened.
Right.
But
giving her some
I don't know.
credibility, but I don't know, there's considering the people who were generally involved with things like that, like Jimmy Dore and the other grift trains, Nico House and shit like that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if that was also an attempt at a grift that backfired.
Yeah. Well, and, all that's left to do is speculate at this point. I'm, not going to be interacting with Joy anymore in the future. She's blocked me. I don't have her blocked. But whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to be interacting with her in the future, and, I'm definitely not going to be trying to do any helpful efforts for the March for Medicare for All, or for Force the Vote, or for Jimmy Dore fans, or anybody else that was in my mentions harassing me over this, just seemingly innocent thing that I wanted to. I even looked into research on GoFundMe, and everything that I saw said, you can't withdraw funds for somebody else's GoFundMe. They have to contact GoFundMe and say, hey, I accept these funds, otherwise they get refunded. And I didn't see any problem with that. Even Joy herself went out and said, they're already getting donations, and they're using my name, and tried to fearmonger that I was trying to raise funds for myself in her name and use it as a grift for some reason. But obviously anybody who looked into how GoFundMe works would understand that this would not be possible. It wouldn't be possible for me to raise funds for somebody else and then withdraw it myself for me, right? That's just, I don't know.
Maybe if you were using it, doing it on a PayPal account or something, I could say Cash App, maybe.
Right. Yeah.
Not on GoFundMe. They literally prevent that from happening.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And that was the point, was that I was getting a lot of harassment from people who didn't understand how GoFundMe worked and didn't care to learn. They saw something to be angry about, and they know being angry on Twitter gets them lots of likes.
Vote for
And sure
me.
enough, yeah, a lot of their hate got a lot of likes, and I got a lot of ratios.
I was gonna say
But
I could pull up a lot of times where I get ratioed by Jimmy Dore fans because I mention him in a negative manner. I actually just had to post a tweet because I got into an argument with
yeah,
yeah, I mean this one's over like voter apathy. It's not really a Jimmy Dore one, but I got into an argument uh with somebody said that don't expect me to just vote again. I'm entirely out of this corrupt system, which I didn't take an issue with this one necessarily. I do have
mhm.
my own stance on it, but not a big deal. It's the reply to it. Love all the people saying, look, the fact that voting hasn't changed anything for the last 80 years is just
What?
proof we need to vote harder. And I went, except it has made massive changes. Holy
Yeah,
shit. And they said,
yeah.
elaborate. Has voting halted mass incarceration? Has it dealt with climate, education, healthcare, U.S. imperialism, housing, food, rural development? Has it stopped gentrification? Has it reined in the banks? Stopped monopolization at all levels of society? And I'm like, I'm sitting there thinking, and I'm like, has it halted mass incarceration? No, but it has slowed under certain
Yeah, that's
presidents.
right.
Has it
Yeah,
dealt with climate? Certain presidents have tried to start addressing the climate.
that's true.
Education? Yes.
Absolutely.
Healthcare. Within the past 80 years, Medicare and Medicaid were implemented within the past 80 years. So, yes.
Yep.
U.S. imperialism depends on the president. Biden just committed to pulling out the troops from Afghanistan and Iraq. I mean, he
Yeah.
also still bombed in Afghanistan, but we're not pulled out fully yet, so it's still
But we're
technically
not
not
doing
breaching.
civilian. There have been 0 civilian bombings under Biden so far.
Yeah.
0.
So, I mean, we're doing way better than we were. Housing. There have been instances where the certain presidents have helped with housing. Yes.
Yep. Mhm.
Food, not so much on that one. I actually have a plan for food decommodification, but that's a totally different subject.
Yeah.
And then rural development, that's a city by city and state kind of issue,
Yeah.
not a federal
Right.
government issue. But yes, voting still
Yep.
helps with that. If you vote in the right governors and mayors, then shit happens. Has it stopped
Yep.
gentrification? To some extent,
Yeah.
it has slowed. Yes. Has it reined in the banks? I'll give him that one. I'll give
Yeah.
him that one. Stop monopolization at all levels of society.
That's
Kind
unrealistic.
it's kind of slowed, but
Yeah.
capitalism becomes monopolistic. Voting people in doesn't stop capitalism. So, and then
Yeah.
I threw out things like civil rights acts, gay rights, trans rights for what they're worth currently. Like
Yeah.
as much as they are, that there's not enough, but we need, but we got something, right?
Yeah. Well, and it's easier to accomplish goals for social policy than it is economic policy. And I wish people would really differentiate that, because social policy is a lot easier to fight for because you have the general public is generally tuned in to social policy. All right. Most people are not really tuned into the fine details of our economy and stuff like that. So their criticisms generally tend to fall on deaf ears. But for social policy, it's a completely different story, right? As long as you can pressure your legislators to, I don't know, enforce some kind of social policy that you want, more often than not, you're going to see,
Trend
yeah,
towards it.
that happens. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Because yeah, you're right. Most people do not give a singular shit about economic policy.
Right.
They don't care. Which
Well,
is why I
and,
have
you
a
know,
criticism for Kyle Kalinski's new thing with what was it? Nina, or the Dems, Nina Turner, just their stand with like, oh, we
oh,
need to stand behind Biden's policies more, and he's just like, what? No,
yeah,
they're not paying attention to the policies here and here, and it's like people don't give a shit about those kinds of
no,
policies, Kyle. They don't give
no.
a fuck.
Well, and it's not their fault because a lot of people are working class. It takes a lot of effort and energy to learn about fucking economics and the fine details of what makes what work and stuff like that. And, I don't blame them. But most people have an instinctual feeling about social policy, right? Whether this is right or wrong, whether we need to do this or that. And it's those feelings that really drive social change. It's not feelings that drive economic change.
No,
So,
that's hard data, honestly, and
yeah.
even then, some of that gets ignored. I found so
Oh,
much data that worker cooperatives are more beneficial to both the workers and the economy than any capitalist corporation. They're
right.
on par in production, if not exceeding it. So I don't know. But yeah, after
Yeah.
I said my thing about like Medicare and Medicaid were made and listed out some other kinds of rights that were more guaranteed under legislation. Somebody said
Mhm.
most everything you mentioned is attributable to either the courts or the Nixon administration. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, and yet, even if that is true, I mean, the courts don't make legislation; they just interpret it.
Right.
Um, I'm pretty sure Medicare and Medicaid was made by LBJ, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I know I looked it up to make sure. Uh, but those things would still have happened because of elections, because the courts are
Right.
filled by the president, and the president is elected. So,
Right.
and then some. So I said, yet it happened due to elections, and somebody came in and said, "You voted for SCOTUS justices." And so my most
Do
recent
people
tweet,
really think you vote for SCOTUS judges? Is that really a thing? Do people really think that that's what happens?
I I think he's trying to make fun of me because I'm saying elections. Essentially, I'm saying elections have
Oh,
consequences. And
yeah.
he's trying to make fun of me, and I'm just like, well, they're appointed by a president who you elect and confirmed by a senate who you elect. So
Sure.
elections have fucking consequences.
Yeah.
But my most recent tweet is, guys, y'all don't vote on SCOTUS seats in every election? No wonder we have a 6-3 conservative court. Shake my head.
Yeah. I mean, well, and there are many reasons to vote one way or the other, but I feel like a lot of Republican voters just don't really care about consequences, right? They want what's best for them, and it's a very selfish way of thinking for a lot of people. And unfortunately, I ran into this with a lot of left-leaning people in my circles, especially in the 2018 or 2020 primary, or yeah,
Yeah.
it was this one when Bernie was running against Pete.
Yeah.
I had a friend of mine that I really respected tell me that he was voting for Pete for one reason and one reason only, and that's because Bernie didn't speak to his needs from his class because he was a higher class than most people. He was really well off, and his family was really well off. And Bernie didn't speak to their needs as a class, and Pete did. So, and that was disappointing because I had a lot of respect for that person, and I lost it all that day and this is the same attitude that a lot of Republican voters have, is that, oh, I'm voting Republican, so that way, my Republican president makes my wallet thicker or something like that, or speaks to my needs as a class, or is going to do something specifically for me and make my life easier, instead of, this is the justice that we need to see in the world. This is what we need to do as a collective, right? And I don't know, it's that level of selfish voting that I'm just really disappointed by.
Yeah, and I mean, I get the feeling because a lot of the older people, especially people now, if I mention that I'm any sort of leftist, they because nobody knows what an anarchist actually is. If I say that, they just assume I want to burn the place I'm in down, regardless of where I'm at. But
Yeah.
so I just generally tell people I'm communist, and they're like, "Oh, you're a communist. That why don't you just like give away your house? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that?" And it's like, because I live in this society. Why don't you like? Do you just hoard everything? Why do you hoard everything? Why are you selfish? Why the fuck are you so selfish?
Right.
Why do you think that
Yeah.
not helping people is the better way, especially to the Christians? That's what I love throwing that one out. I was raised in a
Oh,
Christian
yeah.
household. I had to go to church Wednesday and Sunday.
Wednesday? Ugh. I
Wednesday
hated
night,
Wednesday church.
Wednesday night. No,
Yeah.
Wednesday night church was the good shit at my churches. They brought in like because one of my churches they would bring in like Christian rap groups and shit, and
Oh.
one of my pastors there was a break dancer and shit. So he would like it was cool. And
That's cool.
some weeks we would have martial arts class.
I had, as a kid, I went to a new church for the first time in my life. I was previously, I grew up in a really, really small town. Our church had like 12 people in it. It was a really, really old building, no air conditioning, no heat or anything like that. And yeah, really small. And one week, our pastor was sick and we didn't have a fill in. And so everybody went to the other church up the street. And the other church up the street was completely different from how I'm used to. So in our church, we had an organ and a player and a singer, and everybody was really old, and the whole thing smelled like mildew. and the pews were really cold. Yeah, it was really, really old person church. When we went to the new one, they had a fucking rock group up front. They had fucking speakers everywhere. They came out and started the service at 11:55 or some shit like that, and just started fucking max volume. And it blew my mind as a kid.
Yeah.
And a little bit of sensory overload there, going from this fucking podunk little church to this big like organization where they had like all kinds of money that they could just throw into the church again. Yeah, it was culture shock almost.
Yeah, I can see that. Most of my churches around here did something similar. I never really, because my great grandmother, that is the one woman that I've met that I go, maybe if there is a God, that woman is sitting next to him.
Yeah.
She was wonderful, but she's the one who would take me and stuff because my mom didn't go to church. She just made me go.
Right.
And so like she would follow one pastor around. He owned like one church, and then something happened and we needed to move, and he would move to a different building, and we would follow him to that building because she preferred his style and everything. But he would hire super cool like youth pastors and stuff, which is how we got the guy who would break dance. And one of the guys was actually possibly one of the nicest human beings I've ever met, because he paid for both me and my sister, my oldest sister, to go to Orlando, Florida on a church trip.
Oh, nice. Very cool.
It was supposed to be to Disney World, but Disney World was jam-packed, and it was like a 6-hour long wait to get to the gates to buy tickets.
What the fuck?
So we went to Orlando Studios instead for a week.
Yeah, fair enough. That's good. 6 hours to buy. Jeez.
Yeah, no,
I've never been to Disney World, but holy fuck,
nope,
man.
I never did either. No, it was cool though. Like the worst thing that happened at Orlando Studios was my sister tried to throw me into the bubbling slime outside of the Nickelodeon thing.
Get slimed.
Well, it was because they cool it down whenever they drop it on you a bit, and this was literally just like boiling. It says do not touch it. It can remove your flesh.
Oof. Yeah, not good.
So that is the one bad thing that happened. But it's okay. That was stopped. I think it was just to torment me.
Well, I'm gonna have to go eat dinner soon. Do you have any other final thoughts you want to wrap up?
I think that's about it. Overall, did great in your debate, and it's been cool chatting with you.
Yeah, absolutely. Love to chat again sometime.
Almost any time.
Sounds good.
I do have one thing. I have a discussion coming up with a Boogaloo boy who got offended that I called the entire group fascists, and I didn't really know a whole lot. I just seen some people linking stuff about Boogaloo boys, fascism, stuff like that. So I'm kind of looking through that, and he's kind of saying, "Hey, we fight fascists in our group. Here's pictures of us punching out 3%ers and stuff." And then Froge actually sent me all this stuff about it. So if you ever want to shit on Boogaloo boys and expose them for how they do all their stuff, I can send you an entire like 15 links of stuff, most of which Froge sent me.
Sure. Yeah, happy to. I mean, Boogaloo boys, it's in the name, right? Their goal is to start a civil war too, so they can, I don't know, start an ethnocide or something. Who fucking cares? But it's Civil War II Electric Boogaloo, and that was the origin of their name, the Boogaloo Boys. So, I don't think that anyone who subscribes to the might makes right narrative could escape the term fascism. Right. I think it's going to fall naturally. If you think, I'm going to start a war in order to get what I want, sorry about it, you're a fascist, bud.
Yeah. Also, this first document I'll send you, because it includes the March for Medicare for All thing.
Oh,
it
cool.
Includes Unholy Rome in it.
Yeah, I know all about that guy. I am blocked by so many of those fucking forced to vote March for Medicare for All people. Well,
yeah, I'm surprised that Rome hasn't blocked me yet.
yeah.
But
I'm blocked by Mozframe, and I'd never interact with Mozframe.
Wow.
Yeah, I know, right? What the
Wow.
fuck?
I need
I
to
don't know.
up my game on criticism, I guess. Fuck.
Well, I think a lot of it came from when they were G-Hive jacketing me or something.
Yeah, well, I'm blocked by Jeff, so.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't even know
Huh.
what for.
Well,
Somebody
I
linked it,
imagine it was, kind of got wrapped up in
some discourse from
G-Hive discourse or something. Yeah.
it was probably from
Some,
a few years ago because I completely forgot about this person, and then they popped up as somebody tweeted something, and I was like, I can't see who this is, and they're like, oh, it's from
yeah.
Jeff. Are you blocked by Jeff? And I'm like, I guess. Who is this? I don't know
Yeah.
who this is. Probably something from when I first started moving a little bit more left. I was more in the
Right.
closer to the sockdam category.
Well, I don't know if you know of this person, but there's like an anti-fascist organizer called Karma 161, and around the time that a lot of this G-Hive stuff started taking wind, and the discourse doctor was posting all the screenshots of folders and shit that he has because he's an unhinged lunatic. It was around that time that I got wrapped up in it, and they ended up tagging me in some kind of thread to let me know that stuff was going on. And then I was talking back and forth with people about it, and I guess I got blocked by the Karma 161 guy, even though it was that person that tagged me in the thing to begin with. Oh well. It happens. People get wrapped up in discourse and they go, off the cuff blocking people and whatever.
Yeah.
So
Luckily, I try to avoid blocking most people. I have like two or
Yeah.
three, a little odd, but I have a couple of Zionists blocked because they shit on me for criticizing Israel with
yeah.
the apartheid.
I
and
block
shit.
turfs. No, full stop. I block turfs.
Oh yeah,
No question about it.
I
I
really
just
don't
block
come
them.
across them that much. Usually, it's people link shit and they're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is a really fucked up tweet," and I'm like, "I never see this stuff. Why is except for like I hate to say it, but Roxy."
Yeah.
Or Marcy.
Yeah.
That's the
Well,
only
and
reason I see it.
it's because it's targeted, right? These turfs don't go after just any leftist. They'll specifically try to find trans people
That's
to sit here
true.
and
Yeah.
pick on and go into their mentions and say, you will never be a woman, blah, 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 all this stuff. And again, you take note at a lot of the attitudes that turfs have, and it's specifically phallophobic. It's has nothing to do with trans men at all. In fact, a lot of turfs will say, oh, well, trans men should be protected.
Yeah. Well, they feel because trans men they're like, oh, but you were born in this body,
Right.
so we need to protect you from being corrupted by men, and
Right.
that's their whole fucking deal. I do find it absolutely hilarious that like Vosh had put out a video about trans people semi recently. It was like 3 or 4 days ago, I think. And
Uh-huh.
it was like giving people more arguments to bolster like the position of like protecting trans people.
Yeah.
And Tempest was putting time posts in, and somebody commented under Tempest's post, like comment, "You will never be a real woman."
Yeah.
Tempest is a man.
Yeah. I know.
So Tempest,
This happens all the time.
Oh,
They
Tempest
do
threw-
this all the time. They
Tempest
fire
threw
off
up
in the dark.
post onto Twitter, and then the very second post was like the crying emoji, like super happy crying emoji, going, "Wow, really?" And I'm like,
Wow, thanks. Yeah. No,
Welcome,
and this
alright.
is it's true too, because a lot of people will clock I don't know, trans women as trying to be trans men for some reason and ignore them, or they will clock cis women as trans women. And it's just it's there's no basis on it. It's just hate. And
Yeah.
that's why I block on site, because other people, if I have a political disagreement with you, I'll probably mute you because it's more effective. If I mute you, I'm not going to see your fucking posts. Okay? But if I mute you, you're still able to see my profile. And if I block you, you're not. So that's why I block turfs and just mute people I have political disagreements with.
Yeah, I mean, with the Zionists, they were actually like harassing me and trying to dox me, so I'm
Oh yeah, no,
absolutely
fuck that.
blocking them.
Yeah, block them all. Fuck it.
I have
Yeah.
Nazis.
No,
who
and
try to
I've got
indoctrinate me.
Discourse Doctor blocked and all of his fucking lackeys and stuff. The fucking Louis F. True Leftist or whatever the fuck his name is. All of them.
Jeez.
I've got them all blocked because, yeah, that level of stalking is just not. Just go outside.
Yeah.
Dude, please go outside.
Oh, absolutely. I've actually got one person who got mad. I think they started coming over because I used the Lenin, Marx, and Engels would have voted for Biden in this situation. I used that.
True.
I substantiated the arguments. I actually went and found the fucking literature and cited it. And they still tried to tell me that I was selectively quoting when I'm quoting like entire paragraphs of shit.
Yeah.
This person has followed onto my YouTube telling me to debate him. I was just like, dude, I don't do debates. I really don't. I have never done a like online debate. I don't do the blood sports. I can, but I'm trying to be a good person right now. Like, I don't want to revert my language because I will. Language is the hardest thing for me to reform because I hang out with. I live in Oklahoma. I hear slurs every day. Ableist slurs, racial slurs, not as much. Like, almost never. That's the surprising part. Even in the most rural area, almost never hear a racial slur.
Well, and that's changing, you know, because I grew up in Kentucky, and in small town Kentucky, there was a lot of racism when I was growing up. There were a lot of N-words flown around from even kids my age, right? And that's changed here in the last like 20 years since I've grown up. And we can see that too because a lot of the right-wing people and a lot of the TERFs and other people like that have found that it's not expedient to be racist or homophobic or xenophobic or anything like that anymore. It's not. But the big thing you can get is hate on trans people, right? There's still a huge audience for hate on trans people. And so that's where all of these like people are kind of moving to now, is focusing their ire on trans people rather than people of different skin colors or people from different places and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's why the white nationalists did. Some of it didn't get a whole lot of traction, but some of it, like Red Ice TV when it was on YouTube. Stefan Molyneux, Jordan Peterson. I mean,
all of them.
Oh shit, Streamlabs just cut out. All right, cool.
Oh,
there we go. We're back.
Well,
cool.
Nice.
But
yeah, I think I'm running a little low on time. I'm gonna go scarf some food down and then try to get a shower in before I go to bed.
Yeah, I should probably do the exact same thing. All right. It was good talking to you. You take care.
Yeah, you too. Have a good night, and thanks for the conversation.
Good night. Bye. Oh, shit. All right. That was unbelievably phenomenal. Okay. It was a good conversation. We actually even had some productive discourse throughout. No. What is Marcio's? And have to go with some cheering up of girl boss Marcy. She's not feeling great. Okay. Aww. Comrade Waluigi is one of the most grifty fucks. I don't know if he's actually grifty. I'm sorry. I should retract that. I walk it back a little bit. He's one of not that politically aware. I don't think. What is this? All right. Yep, I think because we've been going, it's almost 10 o'clock. Oh, wow. That was a long conversation. Holy shit. You all take care. I need to go because I've got to get some food in me and then get ready for bed because I got to work tomorrow. It was a big day today. I'm very tired. So, yeah. Have a good night. Take care. Stay hydrated. Try and help your community. Do shit.